Chapter 5610. Outside Black Chilean City, in a remote mountain range about 10 miles away from the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire, a figure silently sat cross-legged under a big tree. It was Jiyu Fei's doppelganger. At this time, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire was in a hubbub of voices. The whole camp was brightly lit, and countless soldiers were searching for something. The commander-in-chief of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Wu Liang, was furious that someone had snuck into the camp and knocked out so many soldiers. How embarrassing, especially since Bafei was still lingering in the camp. Wouldn't Bafei laugh at them? However, what angered Wu Liang was that they didn't know who had snuck into the camp, let alone the purpose of the mysterious person. The mysterious person had snuck into the camp, devoured the cultivation of the soldiers, and left. What was going on? One should know that the cultivation of those battle soldiers was not very high. Even if he devoured the cultivation of all the soldiers here, his cultivation would break through to heaven rank. Wu Liang would never have guessed that the person who had snuck into the camp was only trying to break through to earth rank. That night was a sleepless night for the soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire outside Black Chilean City. They searched the camp for the whole night, almost digging 3 feet into the ground. But they couldn't find anything. At this time, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger had returned to Black Chilean City without anyone noticing. He didn't return to the barracks, but strolled on the streets near the east gate, because it was less than an hour before dawn. Just when Jiyu Fei's doppelganger was bored to death, he suddenly saw a small shop at the corner of the street open for business. At this time, there were not many people on the street. Jiyu Fei's doppelganger walked over. It was a noodle shop. He paused in front of the shop for a while, then lifted his foot and walked in. The noodle shop wasn't big, and there were only 7 or 8 tables inside. It was a small noodle shop, and because it was still dark, there was not a single customer in the shop. There were only 3 people in the noodle shop, an elderly man, a young waiter, and a young girl. The old man was kneading the dough, and there were already noodles beside him. "Sir, what would you like to eat? We have braised meat noodles, fried paste noodles, and fried noodles." The waiter came forward and warmly welcomed Jiyu Fei's clone. "Give me a bowl of stewed meat noodles," Jiyu Fei's doppelganger said after thinking for a while. "All right, please wait a moment." The waiter retreated. On the other side, the old man directly grabbed a ball of noodles and threw it into the soup pot. The old man skillfully stirred the noodles in the soup pot with his chopsticks. When the noodles were cooked, he scooped them into a big bowl and poured a big ladle of braised meat over them. The gravy from the braised meat seeped into the noodles, and a meaty aroma filled the air. Even before eating, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger knew that this bowl of noodles must be delicious. Jiyu Fei's clone served the braised meat noodles. "Sir, please enjoy your meal." The young man smiled and retreated. In fact, Jiyu Fei had not eaten mortal food for a long time. Naturally, it was the same for his doppelganger. Looking at the big bowl of braised meat noodles in front of him, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger could not help but be tempted. "Old Mo, you still dare to open a shop?" Just as Jiyu Fei's doppelganger was about to start eating, a voice suddenly came from outside. "Master Wolf, can you extend the deadline for a few days?" When the old man saw the person, he hurriedly went out to welcome him. "You dare to open a shop without paying Master Tu's protection fee? Are you courting death?" The voice was very arrogant. When Jiyu Fei's doppelganger heard this, he could not help but frown. Then, he put down the chopsticks in his hand and turned to look outside. Outside the shop stood 3 burly men in black. The one in the lead was a middle-aged man with a single eye. This one-eyed middle-aged man had a murderous aura around him, and his appearance was ferocious. One look and anyone could tell that he was definitely not a good person. Master Tu." When the old man heard this, his expression changed drastically. "Master Wolf, can you put in a good word for me in front of Master Tu and extend the deadline for a few days? I will be eternally grateful," the old man begged. "No way. If you can't pay the protection fee today, then you can forget about opening this shop," the one-eyed Master Wolf said fiercely. "Master Wolf, can you give me a way out?" the old man said in despair. He was very clear that if he could not pay the protection fee, the consequences would be very serious. Hihi, don't say that I'm not giving you a way out. How about this, your girl will leave with me, and you won't have to pay the protection fee in the future. The one-eyed master wolf suddenly stared at the girl in the shop and sneered. What? When the old man and the young waiter heard this, they were shocked and angry, especially the granddaughter of the old man. Her expression changed drastically. She did not want to leave with these guys. What are you guys waiting for? Ask that girl to go back. The one-eyed master wolf shouted at the two subordinates behind him. Yes. The two men behind the one-eyed master wolf immediately accepted the order and rushed into the shop. However, in the next moment, the two guys who rushed into the shop screamed and flew out. They fell directly on the street and could not stand up for a while. Who dares to be presumptuous in the territory of the Sky Tiger Gang? The one-eyed master wolf roared into the shop. Scram! A voice sounded in the shop. What? The middle-aged man called Master Wolf in front of the shop was immediately furious. He directly rushed into the shop and saw that there was only one customer inside. Needless to say, this was the guy who sent his two subordinates flying. When the old man and the young waiter saw this scene, they could not help but be confused. Kid, offending the Sky Tiger Gang will not do you any good. The one-eyed middle-aged man stared at Gu Fei's doppelganger sitting at the table in the corner. TSK. Gu Fei's doppelganger did not care at all. You're courting death. The one-eyed middle-aged man laughed sinisterly. In the next moment, he directly jumped up and directly punched at Gu Fei, who was sitting at the table. Peak of human level? The moment the one-eyed middle-aged man made his move, Gu Fei's doppelganger stretched out his right hand and accurately grabbed the other party's incoming fist. The one-eyed middle-aged man was really shocked. Then, he only felt that the primordial qi in his body was rapidly draining. Gu Fei's doppelganger was devouring the one-eyed middle-aged man's cultivation. Roar! The one-eyed middle-aged man roared again and again. He wanted to withdraw his fist, but it was already too late. His fist was tightly grabbed by Gu Fei's doppelganger. Soon, a small part of the one-eyed middle-aged man's cultivation was devoured by Gu Fei. However, with the devouring speed of Gu Fei's doppelganger, this one-eyed middle-aged man would probably become immortal soon. You shouldn't have provoked me. Chapter 56:11. Black Chilean City was an important place at the border of the East Moon Empire. It was a place where everyone paid attention to, and the power was complicated. Of course, the number one power in Black Chilean City was the East Moon Empire's Black Chilean City. Other than the Empire, there was also the Hu family, the Tu family, and the Longxiang family in the city. These three families were not small, and there were countless small powers outside of them. The Heavenly Tiger Gang was one of the small powers. The Heavenly Tiger Gang was attached to the Tu family of Black Chilean City. Their boss was Tu Tianhu, a powerful figure in the Tu family, and Tu Xiao was Tu Tianhu's cousin. The Tu family and the Hu family were connected by marriage. It was also because of the alliance that Tu Xiao could do whatever he wanted in the military camp at the east gate of Black Chilean City because his backing was too powerful. Who would dare to provoke Tu Xiao? Moreover, the Heavenly Tiger Gang was not to be trifled with. The Tu family's territory was in the eastern part of the city, while the Hu family was in the west. The southern and northern parts were under the control of the Longxiang family. The central part of the city was where the city lord's office was located. No one dared to set foot there. In Black Chilean City, the city lord was the most powerful. Everyone had to listen to the city lord, followed by the Longxiang family. It was also because the Longxiang family was too powerful that the Hu family and the Tu family formed an alliance to fight against the Longxiang family. Of course, the Longxiang family was a large family in the East Moon Empire. Even in the imperial court, they were very powerful. The Longxiang family of Black Chilean City was only a branch of the entire Longxiang family. The eastern part of the city was the Tu family's territory, and also the Heavenly Tiger Gang's territory. The Heavenly Tiger Gang's biggest income was collecting protection fees from merchants. Merchants who did not pay protection fees could not open a shop in the eastern part of the city. This was the cruel reality of Black Chilean City. The little old man, Chu Yin, was only the owner of a noodle shop in an inconspicuous place in the eastern part of the city. This noodle shop was where he and his granddaughter settled down. They only hired a waiter. The income of a small shop was not much. It was only enough to maintain their normal life. But now, they already owed the Heavenly Tiger Gang 3 months of protection fees. The people from the Sky Tiger Triad had arrived before dawn. They had their eyes on Chu Yin's granddaughter, Chu Xiaoye. If Ji Yufei's doppelganger was not here today, the little old man's granddaughter would have been taken away by the Heavenly Tiger Gang's one-eyed wolf. This guy called Lord Wolf was a ruthless character. Who are you? At this moment, the insufferably arrogant, ferocious and arrogant Master Wolf stared in horror at the young man who was grabbing his fist. His voice trembled as he spoke. Because at this moment, the essence in his body was rapidly being sucked away by the other party. He wanted to retract his fist, but his opponent's grip on his fist was surprisingly strong. You shouldn't have provoked me, Ji Yufei's doppelganger said indifferently. Who the hell are you? Lord One-Eyed Wolf was depressed. If he had known that this fella was so powerful, would he have asked for it? You're not qualified to know who I am. Ji Yufei's doppelganger's tone was very calm. This guy's essence was much stronger than that of the tyrannical Sky Empire's soldiers. He could feel his strength constantly increasing. He had already devoured so many essence chi of the tyrannical Sky Empire's soldiers, and his cultivation had already broken through to the great accomplishment of the human realm. Now, as long as he devoured this guy's cultivation, his cultivation could break through to the peak of the human realm. Ji Yufei's doppelganger thought that although he was still a distance away from the Earth realm, when he faced Hu Feng again, he would still have a chance to fight back. However, this body was too weak. A sudden surge of powerful energy would cause damage to this body, which was not a good thing for Ji Yufei's doppelganger. This body's current maximum endurance is probably only able to withstand the power of the peak of the human realm. Ji Yufei's doppelganger was really helpless. Even if he used the martial body tempering method to cultivate, it would be impossible for him to cultivate a powerful martial body in a short time. It must be known that the transformation of the physique required time to accumulate. Of course, if he had a fortuitous encounter, he might be able to cultivate a powerful martial body in a very short time. The stronger the martial body, the more power the martial body could withstand. Stop, I beg you to stop. This Lord Wolf was really afraid, because in the time it took to say these few words, 1/3 of the essence chi in his body had been sucked away by the other party. He did not want to become a cripple who lost all his cultivation. He knew very well that in this world where the weak were prey to the strong, once he lost his cultivation, he would definitely end up in a miserable state. At the very least, the Sky Tiger Gang would chase him away. Then, those who had been bullied by him would definitely tear him apart immediately. This one-eyed Lord Wolf knew that he had offended too many people. If he lost his cultivation and was chased out by the Sky Tiger Gang, those people would definitely not let him off. Stop. Why should I stop? Not only did Ji Yufei's doppelganger not stop, but the devouring power in his hand became even stronger. You, Lord One-Eyed Wolf's shock was no small matter. Do you know who I am? I'm from the Sky Tiger Gang, do you know? The Sky Tiger Gang is the #1 gang in the east of the city. If you dare to touch me, the entire Sky Tiger Gang will not let you off. One-Eyed Lord Wolf roared with a stern expression. Sir, you'd better leave quickly. At this moment, the little old man Chu Yin hurried over and said. The Sky Tiger Gang was not to be trifled with. However, was he, Ji Yufei's doppelganger, easy to provoke? If I leave, you guys will be out of luck. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said indifferently. Sigh, if something happens to them here, I'll be even more unlucky, the little old man said helplessly. At this time, the entire Black Chilean city had been sealed. Even if they wanted to leave southern Chilean city, they could not do so. Of course, the Sky Tiger Gang's influence was spread throughout the East City. It was easier said than done for the grandfather and grandson duo to leave. This was the helplessness of a nobody. Listen carefully, my name is Ji Yuzhon. Tell your people to come and find me. Ji Yufei's doppelganger stared at One-Eyed Lord Wolf and said coldly. At this time, This one-eyed Lord Wolf no longer had the arrogance from before. His entire person had lost a kind of vitality, and his eyes had also become dull. 99% of one-eyed Lord Wolf's cultivation had been absorbed by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Ji Yufei's doppelganger waved his right hand and directly threw one-eyed Lord Wolf out of the shop. One-eyed Lord Wolf led his two subordinates and fled in panic. At this time, Ji Yufei's doppelganger exuded a powerful aura. After he had absorbed 99% of one-eyed Lord Wolf's cultivation, his cultivation had finally broken through to the peak of the human stage. "You guys really hid well." Ji Yufei's doppelganger suddenly turned around and said to the little old man beside him. "What?" Chapter 56:12. I didn't expect there to be two cultivators hiding in a small noodle house. Ji Yufei's clone stood in the noodle house and looked at the little old man with a faint smile. "Who are you?" At this time, a voice came from behind Ji Yufei's clone. The granddaughter of the little old man had already arrived behind Ji Yufei's clone. "Advanced human realm?" Ji Yufei said indifferently. "You actually know my cultivation level?" Chu Xiaoye was shocked. She had been lurking in Black Qilin City for so long, but this was the first time someone saw through her. Who was this guy? Thinking of this, Chu Xiaoye couldn't help but feel nervous. Could it be that they had been targeted long ago? That shouldn't be the case, because no one would think that they were cultivators. Those guys from the Heavenly Tiger Gang were just a bunch of idiots in their eyes. In fact, the reason why Chu Yin and Chu Xiaoye owed the Heavenly Tiger Gang protection fee was actually just an act. But now, this act couldn't go on because of the sudden appearance of Ji Yufei's clone. So, they had to leave Black Qilin City. If they wanted to leave the city, they had plenty of ways. Even if the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire had surrounded Black Qilin City like an iron bucket, they still had a way to escape. Just now, Chu Yin wanted to take advantage of the moment when Ji Yufei's clone was unprepared to suddenly kill Ji Yufei's clone, and then directly leave Black Qilin City with his granddaughter. "Mph, no one can hide their cultivation level in front of me," Ji Yufei's clone said proudly. He was very confident about this. Although he was only at the peak of the human realm, and he had just broken through to the peak of the human realm. But he had the knowledge of an infinite prime. What a big tone. Chu Yin stared coldly at Ji Yufei's clone. Since he couldn't do it in the dark, he would do it openly. He slowly stretched out his right hand that was hidden behind his back, and the sharp dagger in his hand shone with a cold light. "Hihi, you should have done this a long time ago." Ji Yufei's doppelganger stared at the little old man in front of him, his eyes as bright as stars. This little old man wasn't simple. He already had 1 foot in the Earth rank and was half a step into the Earth rank. It was just the right time to use this guy as a practice target. The stronger a martial artist was, the stronger they would become. To Ji Yufei, leaping realms to challenge stronger opponents was a common occurrence. Ji Yufei's 9 secrets of the immortal Tao were not to be trifled with. "Sai, you are quite a character. However, you must die today." Chu Yin sighed, looking very regretful. "Are you sure you can kill me?" Ji Yufei's doppelganger smiled. "We'll know soon enough whether we can kill them or not." As Chu Yin spoke, he pushed off with his right foot. In the next instant, his entire body was like an arrow, shooting towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. His speed was extremely fast. Don't be fooled by Chu Yin's aged appearance. When he moved, he was fast, ruthless, accurate, and incomparably powerful. A cold light slashed towards the neck of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Chu Yin wanted to seal the throat of Ji Yufei's doppelganger in one move. However, just as Chu Yin's blade was about to seal the throat of Ji Yufei's doppelganger, the cold light in his hand suddenly stopped before the throat of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. What? Seeing this, Chu Yin's eyeballs almost fell to the ground. Because he saw an unbelievable scene. This young man actually used 2 fingers to clamp down on the dagger that he had drawn with all his strength. This was a dagger that he had drawn with all his strength. Moreover, this was no ordinary dagger. This was an Earth-rank dagger, and it was incomparably sharp. Chu Yin was truly shocked by this move of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. "This dagger is not bad. Thank you." As Ji Yufei's doppelganger spoke, Chu Yin felt the hand that was holding the dagger tremble. Then, without knowing how, the dagger in his hand was in the doppelganger's hand. This time, Chu Yin's shock was no small matter. Shua. Just as Ji Yufei's doppelganger snatched the dagger from Chu Yin's hand, Chu Xiaoye, who was behind him, made her move. A cold lightning-like sword light rushed out from her sleeves, directly towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Playing with swords with me? Ji Yufei's doppelganger used the 8 desolation steps. The sword light that came from behind him brushed past his body. It was really a close shave. Chu Xiaoye attacked one after another, her sword moves also as fast as lightning. However, it was as if Ji Yufei's doppelganger already knew how Chu Xiaoye would attack. At the critical moment, he avoided her sword move by a hair's breadth. Chu Xiaoye was shocked and angry at the same time. She didn't even touch the hem of the doppelganger's clothes. But Ji Yufei's doppelganger didn't put Chu Xiaoye in his eyes at all. This little girl's cultivation was only at the peak of the mortal realm. Most importantly, Ji Yufei's doppelganger had the battle strength to challenge those stronger than him. In Ji Yufei's eyes, only this little old man could be his opponent. At this time, he used the 8 desolation steps and began to fight with the little old man. A half-step Earth realm cultivator was indeed not ordinary. Although Ji Yufei's doppelganger had mastered the secret arts of the immortal path, it was not an easy task to take down this guy in a short time. Moreover, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was using this guy as a practice target. Even if he had the ability to kill the little old man in one hit, he wouldn't be able to kill this guy in one hit. Most importantly, he had no enmity with the two of them, so he didn't have any killing intent towards them. "What's wrong with you? Are you toying with us?" Chu Yin said angrily. He could quickly see that this guy didn't have any killing intent towards them. If they couldn't even see this, would they still have the face to come out? And Ji Yufei's doppelganger was also very curious about these two guys. Where did they come from? Were they spies sent into Black Qilin City by some force? Black Qilin City was not peaceful at the moment. All forces were watching Black Qilin City, waiting to watch a show. Whether the East Moon Empire or the tyrannical Sky Empire could destroy the other would depend on this battle. Especially the East Moon Empire. Once the tyrannical Sky Empire's army broke through Black Qilin City, the East Moon Empire would be in trouble. Dongyu Shui also wanted to trap and kill the tyrannical Sky Empire's army outside the city. Once her plan succeeded and directly destroyed the tyrannical Sky Empire's army outside the city, the East Moon Empire's army would reverse the situation and turn from defense to offense. At this time, the tyrannical Sky Empire would be in danger. In short, this battle was very important to both empires. At this time, the tyrannical Sky Empire also sent another army to Black Qilin City. The East Moon Empire's reinforcements were also marching towards Black Qilin City day and night. Both empires wanted to seize the initiative. Of course, these major events had nothing to do with the current Ji Yufei's doppelganger, because he was only a small soldier now. The sounds of fighting in the noodle shop soon alerted the patrolling soldiers nearby. Sigh, this fight can't go on. Chapter 56:13. The morning of Black Qilin City was not peaceful. Master Wolf of the Heavenly Tiger sect was almost crippled, while the grandfather and grandson who ran an inconspicuous noodle restaurant in the east of the city disappeared. There were signs of a fight in the noodle restaurant. Only a waiter with no cultivation background was left in the restaurant. But this young man didn't know anything. He didn't know anything. Normally, this would be a trivial matter, but it was different now. The army of the tyrannical Sky Empire had sealed off the entire Black Qilin City. The people in the city could not escape at all. Moreover, there were definitely many spies of the tyrannical Sky Empire in the city. Who could guarantee that the grandfather and grandson who disappeared were not spies of the tyrannical Sky Empire? When the news reached Dongyu Shui, the princess of the East Moon Empire was furious. She ordered a citywide search. As a result, the atmosphere of Black Qilin City became extremely tense. Soldiers of Black Qilin City could be found in every corner of the city. Dongyu Shui was going to dig deep into Black Qilin City. This method was simple and crude, but it was very effective. It actually allowed Dongyu Shui to find many suspicious people in Black Qilin City. Then, these people were directly locked up in Black Qilin City's prison, and all kinds of torture were waiting for them to enjoy. After this wave of attacks, almost all the spies of the tyrannical Sky Empire in Black Qilin City were caught. This made the commander of the tyrannical Sky Empire's army, Wu Liang, extremely depressed. Of course, this had nothing to do with Ji Yufei's clone. However, he did not know that his new name, Ji Yuzhon, had already been found out by Dongyu Shui. You still haven't found that guy called Ji Yuzhon? In the main hall of the city lord's residence, Dongyu Shui sat on the throne in the center like a queen. She looked down at her subordinates with a cold and arrogant expression. In the hall stood a dozen important figures of the East Moon Empire in Black Qilin City. Everyone was cautious. Your Highness, we haven't even found anyone with the surname Ji Yu, let alone Ji Yuzhon. The city lord said with a heavy tone. Surname Ji Yu, this Longxiong man, who was not afraid of anything, showed a trace of fear on his face. That person can't be from that clan, can he? The head of the Hu family, Hu Xiaotian, also revealed a look of fear. In the limitless realm, the surname Ji Yu was a rare surname. It was also a taboo surname. Even the princess of the East Moon Empire, Dongyu Shui, was rather wary of people with this surname. Forget it if you can't find it. Dongyu Shui said gloomily. In the limitless realm, some extremely ancient cultivation clans could not be offended. In the easternmost region, the surname Wu was a taboo. This was because Peerless Extreme Emperor's surname was Peerless. The oldest and most powerful cultivation clan was not something they could imagine. However, Ji Yufei's clone, who had just arrived, had no idea how awesome his surname was in the limitless realm. At this moment, a beam of divine light flew in from outside the main hall. The higher-ups of the Black Qilin City were shocked. They all got into defensive positions. Everyone was ready to attack at any time. Their nerves were stretched taut. When Dongyu Shui saw the divine light that flew in, her eyes lit up. She reached out with her right hand and grabbed the divine light. Ha, Ba Fei won't be able to escape this time. Dongyu Shui laughed. The higher-ups of the Black Qilin City in the main hall were all shocked. At this moment, at the foot of a mountain less than 100 miles away from Black Qilin City, countless soldiers rushed out. Banners fluttered in the wind, horses neighed, and the whole mountain was covered with soldiers in armor. These were the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire. The reinforcements of the East Moon Empire were finally about to reach Black Qilin City. Moreover, their morale was high, and there were even sky troops riding on birds in the sky. Rumble, chariots, pulled by powerful beasts, quickly rushed over from the distance. Every chariot had a powerful general standing on it. This was the confidence of the East Moon Empire. However, on the side of the Heaven Tyrant Empire, their reinforcements were also marching towards Black Qilin City without stopping. However, the reinforcements of the Heaven Tyrant Empire were much further away from Black Qilin City than the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone had already returned to the military camp at the east gate of Black Qilin City. After devouring the cultivation of the one-eyed wolf from the Heaven Tiger sect, his cultivation had finally broken through to the peak of the human level. After returning to the barracks, he lay down on the bed. He did not sleep, but cultivated. He wanted to consolidate the cultivation realm he had just broken through. Master Jean, wash your face. Master Jean, we've brought your food for you. Master Jean, here are your clothes. When dawn arrived, when Ji Yufei's clone got up, there were 3 guys standing neatly in front of his bed. One of them was holding a washcloth, one was holding food, and the last was holding a set of clean clothes. Seeing this, Ji Yufei's clone could not help but frown. No wonder Tu Xiao liked being the leader of the ruffians so much. It turned out that being the leader of the ruffians had such benefits. With such enjoyment, Ji Yufei's clone naturally had no reason to reject it. After washing his face, eating, and dressing, he walked out of the barracks. The 3 guys were like servants, carefully following behind Ji Yufei. When the surrounding people saw Ji Yufei's clone, they instinctively made way. By this time, The news that Ji Yufei's clone dared to confront General Tiger Wind had already spread throughout the entire military camp at the East Gate. Now, he was already a celebrity in the military camp at the East Gate. After all, not just in the Eastern Gate camp, even in the entire Black Chilean city, there had never been a confrontation between a lowly soldier and a general. How could a lowly soldier dare to provoke a general? Wasn't that the same as seeking death? However, something that had never happened before had happened. This would definitely cause a commotion. However, Hu Feng, the general from the Black Chilean city's Tiger clan, was a little embarrassed. At this moment, in the square of the military camp, countless soldiers were training, and their shouts were deafening. "Wang Zhon, is that you?" As the saying goes, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Ji Yufei's clone met a guy he hated. This guy was Tu Xiao, who was followed by more than a dozen ruffians. Your injury healed quite quickly. Ji Yufei's clone was a little surprised to see this guy. He had just taught this guy a lesson yesterday. Shouldn't this guy be hugging a bandage and lying on the bed like a corpse? It seemed like there was an expert treating this guy. Otherwise, how could this guy recover so quickly? Hey, you're about to die. Tu Xiao stared coldly at Ji Yufei's clone. Ha ha. Chapter 56:14. The Tu clan was a large clan in Black Chilean city of the East Moon Empire, the East Moon Empire of the Limitless Realm. Of course, the Tu clan was very powerful in Black Chilean city, but in the entire East Moon Empire, the Tu clan's power was not taken seriously by the influential figures in the imperial court. Although Tu Xiao was the leader of a ruffian in the eastern barracks of Black Chilean city, he was a direct descendant of the Tu clan. His status in the Tu clan was much higher than that of the collateral descendants. Moreover, his uncle was the general of the Hu clan, Hu Feng. The reason why Tu Xiao could appear at the training field of the eastern barracks so energetically today was because there were experts in the clan who treated his injuries. That was why he could recover so quickly. It could not be helped. This was the benefit of having a backer. For example, Wang Zhon, who had been possessed by Ji Yufei, did not have a backer. That was why he was bullied by Tu Xiao and the other ruffians in the barracks, and did not dare to resist. However, it was different now. Wang Zhon's spirit was already in a deep sleep. Wang Zhon was now a clone of Ji Yufei, so he was naturally not afraid of these ruffians. Wang Zhon, you are at death's door, but you don't know it. How pitiful. Tu Xiao sneered at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. I am at death's door? Ji Yufei's clone laughed when he heard that. Have you become stupid after being beaten up by me? Ji Yufei continued. What did you say? Tu Xiao was instantly enraged. At this moment, the surrounding soldiers retreated. Ji Yufei's clone and Tu Xiao attracted the attention of many soldiers. Who are those two? In the distance, beside the training field stood a lady in white with a veil. Your Highness, that middle-aged man is Hu Feng's nephew. His name is Tu Xiao. As for that young man, I don't know who he is. A middle-aged general in battle armor beside the lady in white said carefully. Tu Xiao, Hu Feng's nephew? The Tu clan and the Hu clan? The lady in white said indifferently. Wang Zhon, you're the F***king idiot. Did you eat breakfast? Do you know who gave you your breakfast? Tu Xiao stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger smugly. Ji Yufei's clone couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. You guessed it right. The breakfast you ate was sent to you by someone, and I also added something in it. The more Tu Xiao spoke, the more excited he became. He couldn't wait to see this guy kneel down and beg for mercy. Despicable indeed. Ji Yufei's doppelganger remained calm. If you kneel and beg for mercy now, I'll spare your life. How about it? Tu Xiao said proudly. Ji Yufei's doppelganger stared at Tu Xiao, who was in front of him. Suddenly, he turned his hand and grabbed the soldier who had brought him breakfast. He lifted the soldier up into the air as if he was grabbing a chicken. What do you want? Tu Xiao's expression changed drastically. Here's your man. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said as he threw the man in his hand at Tu Xiao's feet. The sound of bones breaking was heard. The man lay on the ground and wailed. All the soldiers on the training field looked at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. What's happening? It's Tu Xiao, there's going to be a good show. Tu Xiao was famous in the East Gate military camp. Everyone knew this ruffian leader, and countless people had been bullied by this guy. Many people were unhappy to see Tu Xiao bullying someone again, but no one dared to stand up for him. Tu Xiao was backed by the Tu family and the Hu family. With such a strong backing, who would dare to provoke this guy? Most of the soldiers in the East Gate military camp didn't have a strong background. People like Tu Xiao, who came from a big family and was a direct descendant, were rare. Wang Zhon, are you tired of living? Tu Xiao stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger and said angrily. This guy was about to die, but he still dared to touch his man. He was courting death. I'm tired of living. What can you do to me? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said indifferently. Tu Xiao was so angry that he didn't know what to say for a moment. Don't tell me you really think I'm poisoned. Ji Yufei suddenly laughed. What? Tu Xiao's shock was no small matter. Could it be that this guy was immune to all poisons? Or did he discover the food was poisoned in advance? Thinking of this, Tu Xiao broke out in a cold sweat. At this time, he realized that Wang Zhon was like a different person. How could the previous Wang Zhon dare to go against him? The previous Wang Zhon didn't dare to make a sound even if he was bullied like a dog by him. How dare you provoke me again and again? The one who is tired of living is not me, but you. Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at the panic-stricken Tu Xiao with a faint smile. Hearing this, Tu Xiao stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger in horror. What do you want? I'm a direct descendant of the Tu family. If you dare to touch me, I'll wipe out your entire family. Tu Xiao said with a ferocious face. You want to wipe out my entire family? The smile on the face of Ji Yufei's doppelganger disappeared in an instant, and a cold light shot out from his eyes. His family was his reverse scale, and no one was allowed to touch them. So what if I want to wipe out your entire family? Tu Xiao roared with a stern expression. At this time, everyone around looked at Tu Xiao. No one spoke, and the entire martial arts field fell silent. This little guy from the Tu family is really something. He wants to wipe out an entire family just because of a disagreement. Beside the martial arts field, the princess in white said coldly. The general beside Dong Yushui dared not speak. Then I'll wipe you out first. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said as he stepped on the ground with his right foot. Like an arrow, he rushed toward Tu Xiao at an extremely fast speed. The peak of the human level? Seeing this, Dong Yushui's eyes lit up under her gauze hat. A mere warrior was actually a cultivator at the peak of the human level. He was really a hidden dragon. How could such a person be a mere soldier? A cultivator at the peak of the human level could at least be a centurion in the army, with 100 soldiers under his command. However, looking at the clothes he was wearing, he was clearly a mere soldier. The cultivation of Ji Yufei's doppelganger had improved greatly. How could Tu Xiao be a match for him? Bam! Ji Yufei's doppelganger's punch landed directly on Tu Xiao's face. In the next moment, Tu Xiao's face looked as if it had been dyed. It was extremely fascinating. Damn, this guy is a ruthless person. That's so cool. He actually dared to hit Tu Xiao. The surrounding warriors were all dumbfounded by the scene. No one could believe that a mere soldier would dare to attack Tu Xiao, the leader of the military gangsters. Chapter 56:15. In Black Chelin City, the training field at the East Gate Barracks was dead silent. Everyone was so shocked by the scene that their eyeballs almost fell to the ground. No one had expected that Wang Zhon would dare to attack Tu Xiao in front of so many people. Furthermore, he had knocked Tu Xiao to the ground with a single punch. Tu Xiao could not even block a single punch from Wang Zhon and was directly punched in the face. It felt so good. Everyone felt the pain watching from the side. Tu Xiao's subordinates were even more dumbfounded. After all, Tu Xiao was from the Tu family. The east side of Black Chelin City was the Tu family's territory. Moreover, Tu Xiao was a direct descendant of the Tu family. His status in the Tu family was naturally not ordinary. Wang Zhon actually hit a direct descendant of the Tu family in front of countless people. Wasn't this equivalent to giving the Tu family a resounding slap in the face? Among everyone present, No one was optimistic about Wang Zhon. In their eyes, Wang Zhon was just a soldier without any background or backing. Meanwhile, the Tu family in the east side of the city was a colossus in Black Qilin City. Most importantly, the Tu family had allied with the Hu family in the west side of the city. With the two powerful clans working together, even the city lord of Black Qilin City was somewhat wary of these two cultivation clans. However, Tu Xiao, a direct descendant of the Tu family, was actually beaten up by Wang Zhon. In everyone's eyes, Wang Zhon was definitely courting death. "You're crazy. How dare you hit my face?" Tu Xiao, who was knocked down by a single punch from Ji Yufei's clone, was furious. When he was being taught a lesson by Ji Yufei's clone yesterday, there were not that many people watching. However, he was completely humiliated now. Not only him, but the entire Tu family was also humiliated. This was because Tu Xiao was a direct descendant of the Tu family. In the next moment, the entire training field was in an uproar. This little guy is not simple. At the side of the training field, the little princess of the East Moon Empire, Dongyu Shui, who had been watching the show, said with a deep voice, "Go and investigate his background for me." Dongyu Shui said to the general beside her. "Understood." The general accepted the order and left. Dongyu Shui was really curious. This guy dared to hit Tu Xiao, he was really bold. Behind Tu Xiao was the Tu clan from the east side of the city. The people from the Tu family were not to be trifled with. "So what if I hit you?" Ji Yufei's doppelganger said coldly. He was not Wang Zhon now, and he was not a coward who allowed Tu Xiao to bully him and did not dare to resist. Those who knew Wang Zhon felt that the current Wang Zhon was simply a different person. In the past, Wang Zhon would never have dared to provoke Tu Xiao, let alone teach him a lesson. "Trash like you, get the hell out of my sight the next time you see me, understand? I don't want to see you." Ji Yufei's doppelganger stepped forward and stepped on Tu Xiao. He looked down at the guy and said loudly, "Damn it." Tu Xiao was so furious that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was so angered by Ji Yufei's clone that he vomited blood. "Young man, don't be too arrogant." At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. Everyone hurriedly looked in the direction of the voice. They saw that the person who spoke was a battle general, and this battle general was actually Hu Feng. "What? Are all the people from your Hu family the ones who bully the weak, the kind, and fear the evil?" Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at Hu Feng indifferently. "What did you say?" Hu Feng was instantly enraged when he heard this. However, he really could not bring himself to attack Ji Yufei's doppelganger because this was the martial arts practice field, and there were countless pairs of eyes staring at him. With his status as an Earth-rank battle general, attacking a small soldier was a very embarrassing thing. Hu Feng naturally would not make a move against a small soldier in front of a large crowd. Of course, Hu Feng had already sent people to investigate Wang Zhon's background. This small soldier called Wang Zhon did not have any backing at all. This made Hu Feng depressed to the extreme. He was actually intimidated by a small soldier. This was really too embarrassing. And now, no matter how much Hu Feng wanted to get rid of Ji Yufei's doppelganger, at this time, he could not attack Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Of course, if he could not do it openly, Hu Feng could do it in the dark. It was as easy as flipping his hand to kill a small soldier without anyone noticing. "Do you want to attack me?" Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at Hu Feng with a smile that was not a smile. Humph. Hu Feng's expression was extremely ugly. He stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. If looks could kill, Ji Yufei's doppelganger would have died countless times. "Uncle, there's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. This guy actually dares to look down on my Hu family. Then let me have a taste of him." Just as Hu Feng was about to go crazy, a voice suddenly sounded out from the crowd. Then, a person walked out from the crowd. Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at the guy who walked out from the crowd, and his pupils couldn't help but contract. This was a young man with red lips, white teeth, and a delicate face. Judging from this young man's appearance, he couldn't see the depth of this young man at all. Hu Wu. When Hu Feng saw the person, he couldn't help but be startled. He didn't expect to see this nephew in the East Gate military camp. What, his Hu Wu? The surrounding people who were watching the show were all shocked because Hu Wu was a famous person in Black Chilean City. He was a cultivation genius and was the #1 person in the younger generation that the Hu family had nurtured. Hu Wu's cultivation had almost caught up to Hu Feng's. "Nephew, you have to be careful." As Hu Feng spoke, he actually retreated. The surrounding people also retreated far away. This was a battle between experts. If they were accidentally affected, it would definitely be a rhythm of death or injury, another one looking for abuse. Ji Fei said coldly. "We still don't know who will abuse who," the white-clothed young man said with a gloomy face. He stared at Ji Fei's doppelganger and could attack at any time. Ji Fei's doppelganger didn't say anything else and directly threw a punch at the guy called Hu Wu. A burst of fist energy exploded from his fist. Everyone felt a strong wind blowing against their faces, and their faces were faintly aching. Swish! The white-clothed young man dodged and directly dodged the punch from Ji Fei's doppelganger. Two figures moved quickly on the martial arts field, and the concentrated sounds of collisions constantly rang out. Powerful Yuan Qi waves spread out, forcing the spectators to continuously retreat. 10,000 swords facing the sec. Ji Fei's doppelganger shouted. In the next moment, countless sword lights rushed out from his body and pierced towards the white-clothed young man at an extremely fast speed. The earth-shattering sword light fell towards Hu Wu. When everyone saw this scene, they were all stunned. How did this Wang Zhong suddenly become so powerful? Chapter 56:16. Ji Fei descended upon the limitless realm with a wisp of his divine sense. His divine sense possessed the body of a soldier who was on the verge of death. Hence, he changed his name to Ji Zhong, and used the name Ji Zhong to roam the limitless realm. However, Ji Fei did not know what the surname Ji represented in the limitless realm. Since he possessed the body of this soldier from Black Chilean City of the East Moon Empire called Wang Zhong, Ji Fei naturally owed Wang Zhong a huge favor. He possessed Wang Zhong's body, so he naturally inherited everything from Wang Zhong. There were indeed many people who bullied Wang Zhong in the barracks at the east gate of Black Chilean City, and this ruffian leader, Tu Xiao, even ordered Wang Zhong around like a slave. If he was slightly displeased, Tu Xiao would beat Wang Zhong up. As time passed, Wang Zhong naturally accumulated a bellyful of anger, and he also hated Tu Xiao to the bone. However, Tu Xiao's background was too powerful, and he could not afford to offend him. Hence, Wang Zhong swallowed his anger and did not dare to speak up. However, the current Wang Zhong was no longer the original Wang Zhong. He was now a clone of Ji Fei. Who was Ji Fei? How could he let these ruffians bully him? Hence, Tu Xiao was unlucky. However, Tu Xiao's backing was too powerful. After beating Tu Xiao, Hu Wu immediately jumped out. This Hu Wu was the #1 person in the younger generation of the East Martial Cities Hu clan. Moreover, what made Ji Fei's clone somewhat apprehensive was that he actually could not see through this fellow's cultivation. Ever since he came to the limitless realm, this was the first time such a situation had occurred. With his eyesight, he actually could not see through this fellow's cultivation. How was this possible? Could it be that this fellow actually had a treasure that could conceal his cultivation? The limitless realm was the most perfect super world that Ji Fei knew of. This world had a mysterious law of longevity, and the living beings in the limitless realm all had an almost infinite lifespan. He had just arrived, so there were many things that he did not understand about this world. Facing this Hu Wu, Ji Fei's doppelganger did not dare to be negligent. He immediately used the 10,000 swords greeting. This was a super killer move in the sword Dao. Once this move was used, regardless of whether the opponent was a single person or an army, they would be directly swept away by this move. Countless sword lights covered the sky and earth as they pierced towards Hu Wu, directly sealing off all of Hu Wu's escape routes. An expert's skill could be seen the moment they made their move. When Ji Fei's clone used this move, even Dongyu Shui, who was watching from outside the training field, was shocked. This little fellow was indeed not simple. At this moment, Hu Wu was even more shocked. However, he did not panic. In the next moment, his body shook, and an incomparably powerful force directly erupted from his body. A phantom of a large golden bell emerged from his body and shrouded him within it. All the sword lights that Ji Yufei's doppelganger sent out landed on the huge bell shadow that emerged from Hu Wu's body and were blocked. Golden bell protection? Someone exclaimed. Looks like I've underestimated you. Hu Wu stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger, his eyes as sharp as lightning. TCH, you only realized now? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disapprovingly. I didn't expect you to be a sword cultivator. Hu Wu said coldly. There are many things that you can't imagine. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said with a faint smile. Hu Wu had blocked the 10,000 swords greeting from Ji Yufei's doppelganger, causing everyone to be shocked. At this moment, the golden bell shadow on Hu Wu's body disappeared into his body. Then, his skin actually turned golden. Invincible golden body? Outside the training field, Dongyu Shuai could not help but be shocked when she saw this. This Black Qilin City's Hu clan had actually mastered this once-renowned mystical art. Invincible golden body was a divine ability that could only be obtained when the golden body invincible mysterious art was cultivated to the peak, and the golden body invincible mysterious art was known as one of the top mystical arts in the boundless realm. However, this mystical art had long been lost. For countless years, no one had been able to master the complete golden body invincible mysterious art. Without the complete golden body invincible mysterious art, naturally no one could cultivate this mystical art successfully. However, today, this mystical art had actually appeared on Hu Wu. Even Dongyu Shuai, the princess of Dongyu Empire, was extremely envious of this mystical art. It seemed like she had underestimated the Black Qilin City's Hu clan. The Black Qilin City's Hu clan had really hidden themselves well. Swoosh. At this moment, Hu Wu's figure suddenly disappeared on the spot. At the same time, Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly kicked out with extreme speed. Bam! The kick of Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly collided with Hu Wu's fist. A powerful shockwave spread in all directions. Ji Yufei only felt a huge force coming from his opponent's fist. His entire body involuntarily flew several meters away before landing on the ground. Meanwhile, Hu Wu also took a few steps back. With every step he took, he left a deep footprint on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. The ground of the training field of the East Gate military camp was paved with incomparably sturdy bluestone slab. The two of them were still in a stalemate. Neither of them seemed to be able to do anything to the other. Wild wind sweeping leaf kick. Ji Yufei's doppelganger roared. In the next moment, countless leg shadows appeared in the void and kicked fiercely towards Hu Wu. Heavenly Tiger Fist. As Hu Wu spoke, he desperately used both his fists to meet the leg shadows kicked out by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Concentrated sounds of collisions rang out continuously. It was just an instant, and no one knew who would be able to suppress the other. More and more soldiers gathered in the square to watch the show. Everyone knew that Wang Zhong was challenging the number one of the Hu clan's younger generation, Hu Wu. Therefore, all the cultivators in Black Qilin City rushed towards the East Gate military camp. However, not everyone could enter the East Gate military camp. One had to know that at this time, who would dare to act recklessly? How could this guy? Everyone who was watching the show didn't think that Wang Zhong would be the number one of the Hu clan's younger generation. In close combat, even Hu Wu wasn't strong enough. Very quickly, Hu Wu was sent flying by a punch from Ji Yufei's doppelganger. He was already coughing up blood in the air. Peak of the mortal level? Ji Yufei's doppelganger stared at Hu Wu, who had landed on the ground. At this moment, he could feel this guy's aura. The moment Hu Wu landed on the ground, Ji Yufei's doppelganger followed him like a shadow and instantly appeared in front of Hu Wu. Then, a fist directly smashed onto Hu Wu's face. Roar! Hu Wu let out a blood-curdling scream and was directly sent flying. Everyone who saw this scene was dumbfounded. How could this Wang Zhong master such a powerful divine ability and combat skill? This didn't make sense. This guy was definitely hiding an earth-shattering secret. You're not my match. Hu Feng, come out and fight me if you have the guts. Chapter 56-17. Hu Wu was worthy of being the number one person in the younger generation of the Black Qilin City's Hu family. His cultivation was at the peak of the human level. He was one of the best in the entire Black Chilean city's younger generation. Unfortunately, he encountered Jiu Fei's clone. Although Jiu Fei only entered the infinite realm as a strand of his soul, his clone also possessed his knowledge and experience, especially battle experience. Cultivation could disappear, but experience couldn't. Jiu Fei's clone also had the confidence to become stronger and stronger. He also had the strength to challenge experts of higher cultivation. He sent Hu Wu flying with a punch, then set his eyes on Hu Feng, the initial realm of the earth level. Hu Feng and Hu Wu were different. Hu Feng had cultivated for much longer than Hu Wu. His battle experience and knowledge were not something Hu Wu could compare to. Jiu Fei's clone defeating Hu Wu had already dumbfounded everyone. Now, he actually challenged Hu Feng. This was simply courting death. In the infinite realm, although there were also heaven-defying existences who could challenge those of higher cultivation, in the East Moon Empire, especially in Black Chilean City, there had never been such a heaven-defying super genius. Could it be that Wang Zhong really had some fortuitous encounter? "Little guy, you're not qualified to be my opponent," Hu Feng said indifferently. "I'm not qualified to be your opponent." Jiu Fei's clone could not help but be stunned when he heard that. However, he understood very quickly. He was not an unparalleled existence in the infinite realm. He was just a little guy at the peak of the human level here. "Your opponent is me." At this moment, Hu Wu, who was sent flying by Jiu Fei's clone, slowly stood up. His face was covered in blood, and a few of his teeth were knocked out. His words were leaking. His nose, which was originally tall and straight, had collapsed, and his nose was bleeding profusely. "My handsome face." Hu Wu stared at Jiu Fei's clone. His eyes were red, and he wanted to pounce on Jiu Fei's clone and tear it to pieces. He was originally handsome, but now he was in an extremely sorry state. Jiu Fei's clone had slapped Hu Wu's face. This was a huge grudge. You almost died." Jiu Fei's clone did not put Hu Wu in his eyes at all. "Kill." Hu Wu was enraged. In the next moment, he stomped on the ground with his right foot and leaped up from the ground. He pounced ferociously at Jiu Fei's clone. What? The surrounding people were shocked when they saw this scene. This Hu Wu actually wanted to fight Wang Zhong? At this time, everyone could see that Hu Wu wasn't Wang Zhong's opponent. Hu Wu still wanted to fight Wang Zhong. Wasn't he looking for trouble? Hu Wu's body was enveloped in a layer of golden radiance. His skin was golden in color, and powerful energy fluctuations erupted from his body. Invincible golden body? Jiu Fei's doppelganger found out from the mouths of the surrounding people that Hu Wu cultivated this mysterious technique. This was actually a kind of body-refining mysterious technique. Hu Wu's battle body was incomparably powerful. However, in terms of physical strength, no magic skill could compare to Jiu Fei, who practiced martial arts. A martial artist's martial body was the most powerful body. Of course, Jiu Fei's spiritual will had just taken over Wang Zhong's physical body and had not had time to properly refine this physical body. If he fought Hu Wu head-on now, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Swish. Jiu Fei's doppelganger used the 8 desolate steps and moved rapidly in the void, constantly dodging. He did not want to fight Hu Wu head-on. Bang! Boom! A dull sound resounded. Without any suspense, Hu Wu was sent flying by Jiu Fei's doppelganger again. After sending Hu Wu flying, Jiu Fei's doppelganger chased after him and stomped him down from the sky. Bang! The ground was shaking. Jiu Fei's doppelganger descended from the sky and stomped down on Hu Wu. Damn it! Hu Wu used his divine ability. Golden divine chains rushed out from his body and wrapped around Jiu Fei's doppelganger in an instant. The divine chains that were emitting golden light weren't real divine chains. Instead, they were condensed from the power of the metal element. However, they were like real divine chains. They emitted a sonorous sound as if they were real divine chains. Jiu Fei's doppelganger was instantly wrapped up, and he could not help but be shocked. The surrounding spectators were also dumbfounded when they saw this scene. This Hu Wu was not someone with an undeserved reputation. He actually had such a move. Go and die. Hu Wu became ruthless and attacked with all his strength. The divine chains that were wrapped around Ji Yufei's doppelganger immediately tightened, wanting to strangle Ji Yufei's doppelganger to death. At the same time, he actually floated up from the ground. At this moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger suddenly laughed. What? Seeing that Ji Yufei's doppelganger could still laugh at this moment, Hu Wu could not help but be moved. Open for me! In the next moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger instantly stopped smiling and let out a furious roar. An extremely powerful wave of energy burst out from his body. Boom! A wave of fiery light burst out from his body. It was as if he had turned into a god of fire, giving off a feeling of unparalleled power. Using fire to subdue metal? Outside the martial arts field, Dong Yushue's eyes lit up when she saw Ji Yufei's doppelganger's divine ability. This guy seems to have quite a background. Hu Wu's was of the metal element, while Ji Yufei's doppelganger's was of the fire element. Ji Yufei's doppelganger's entire body seemed to be burning with a ball of divine fire. The golden divine chains that were wrapped around Ji Yufei's doppelganger immediately shattered inch by inch, then were devoured by his martial body. How is this possible? Seeing this, Hu Wu was extremely shocked. His eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets, and his face was filled with disbelief. This guy can actually devour my vitality. Hu Wu was immediately pushed back by the power that burst out from Ji Yufei's doppelganger. A trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Seeing this scene, everyone was extremely shocked. Even so, Hu Wu still wanted to fight. Without a word, he continued to press towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Again, Ji Yufei's doppelganger could not help but frown. This guy is really difficult to deal with. He still wants to fight in this state? Has he become stupid after being beaten up by me? Hu Wu's battle intent surged. A mysterious golden pattern of the Tao appeared on his forehead, and the surrounding spiritual energy of the world actually gathered towards him. Golden Dragon Flurry. Hu Wu's hair danced wildly. He directly threw a punch at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Instantly, countless golden dragon shadows appeared in the void and pounced towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. They were extremely fast and ferocious. These were not real dragons, but they were extremely powerful. The dragons danced wildly, and each dragon shadow exploded with a powerful energy wave. Hu Wu was really forced into a corner by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. He wanted to fight with his life on the line against Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Chapter 56:18. Boundless Realm, Easternmost Region, East Moon Dynasty. The training field of the East Gate military camp of Blackchelene City was bustling with noise and excitement. The leader of the ruffians, Tu Xiao, was tortured by a lowly soldier. Not only did this lowly soldier torture Tu Xiao, but he also forced Hu Wu, the number one of the young generation of the Blackchelene City's Hu clan, to fight with his life on the line. At this moment, the soldiers in Blackchelene City who received the news were all rushing to the East Gate military camp. They were all extremely curious about the lowly soldier who dared to challenge the number one of the young generation of the Hu clan. One should know that Hu Wu was one of the best among the young generation of the Blackchelene City. A lowly soldier actually dared to challenge Hu Wu. Wasn't he courting death? However, out of everyone's expectations, not only did this lowly soldier torture Tu Xiao, but he also forced the number one of the young generation of the Hu clan to fight with his life on the line. Golden Dragon Flurry. Hu Wu, who was forced into a corner by Ji Yufei's clone, immediately used his trump card. He punched out, and the fist force turned into countless golden dragon shadows that rushed out from his fist, pouncing towards Ji Yufei's clone. Every golden dragon shadow burst out with an extremely powerful wave of primordial qi. In the boundless realm, those at the peak of the human level could release their inner qi to attack and kill their opponents. In fact, this was also a basic killing ability in other worlds. Releasing inner qi and transforming it to kill the enemy was a simple task for Ji Yufei's original body. However, it was the strongest divine sense he could use for this doppelganger. I'll use Golden Bell Shield too. After saying that, Ji Yufei's doppelganger's body trembled. In the next moment, a huge golden bell appeared on his body, and then enveloped him. The golden dragon shadow formed by Hu Wu's fist force instantly collided with the huge golden bell. Boom! With a deafening sound, the golden bell vibrated, and the golden dragon shadows were sent flying, then dissipated in the void. What? Seeing this, Hu-Wu was stunned. How could this guy also know the golden body invincible mysterious technique? How was this possible? This mysterious technique was a secret technique of the Hu clan. In fact, this mysterious art was only obtained by an ancestor of the Tiger clan, and it was only an incomplete copy of the golden body indestructible mysterious art. For countless years, within the Hu family, no one was able to cultivate this mysterious technique to the small success stage and condense the golden body, until the genius, Hu-Wu, appeared. Hu-Wu was worthy of being called the genius of the Hu clan. He had actually managed to cultivate the powerful and incomplete golden body indestructible mysterious art to the beginner level, tempering his fleshly body to the point where it was much stronger than ordinary cultivators. Unfortunately, he encountered Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Ji Yufei's doppelganger had plenty of ways to deal with this kind of mysterious technique. Therefore, in the eyes of others, the golden body indestructible mysterious art was not worth mentioning at all in the eyes of Ji Yufei's clone. Dumbfounded, right? Haha. Ji Yufei's doppelganger laughed. Impossible. How is this possible? Who are you? Hu-Wu was really shocked by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Could it be that this little fellow also obtained the golden body indestructible mysterious art? The golden body indestructible mysterious art was very famous in the limitless realm. However, this mysterious art was already lost. In the entire limitless realm, no one possessed the complete golden body indestructible mysterious art cultivation method. However, there were quite a number of incomplete golden body indestructible mysterious art circulating within the limitless realm's cultivation world. The incomplete golden body indestructible mysterious art that Black Cheline City's Hu family obtained was just one of them. Furthermore, this incomplete mysterious art of the Hu family was severely lacking. In my eyes, there's nothing that's impossible in this world. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said nonchalantly. What high-sounding sentiment. Hu-Wu was alarmed and enraged. This opponent was seriously too powerful. At this time, Hu Feng, who was watching the show by the side, stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. His pupils involuntarily constricted. This little fellow cannot be left alive. Looks like I have to find a chance to dispose of this little fellow. Furthermore, the way Hu Feng saw it, this little fellow definitely had another incomplete golden body indestructible mysterious art on him. Hu Feng was extremely envious of this incomplete golden body indestructible mysterious art. However, even if he wanted to get rid of Ji Yufei's doppelganger, he could not do it in front of so many people. Even he had his reservations. Because in Black Cheline City, Hu knew how many pairs of eyes were staring at the Hu family. Especially the Longxiang family. The Longxiang family was the sworn enemy of the Hu family and the Tu family. For the past hundreds of years, the two camps in Black Cheline City had been constantly fighting openly and covertly. That's the truth. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disapprovingly. I don't believe I can't kill you. Hu-Wu roared and attacked. Countless fist shadows appeared in the void, directly blasting towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The violent fist energy exploded, causing the surrounding people to retreat far away. However, what shocked Hu-Wu was that the guy in front of him was also punching. Furthermore, the move was exactly the same as his. What the hell? Hu-Wu was dumbfounded. A concentrated collision sound resounded. The fist shadows unleashed by Ji Yufei's doppelganger actually accurately blocked the fist shadows that were blasting towards him. This was the Black Cheline City's Hu family's secret technique, the Heavenly Tiger Fist. How could this guy even know the Heavenly Tiger Fist? How was that possible? Hu-Wu was quite frightened by this move of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Forget about the golden body indestructible mysterious art. In the limitless realm, the incomplete version of this mysterious art was not a secret. Because the incomplete version of the golden body indestructible mysterious art was actually very badly damaged. Even if an ordinary person had the incomplete version of the golden body indestructible mysterious art, they would not be able to cultivate anything. And it was not impossible for this guy called Wang Zhon to obtain the incomplete version of the golden body indestructible mysterious art. However, not everyone could cultivate the heavenly tiger fist. Even for the Hu family, only the direct descendants could cultivate the heavenly tiger fist. Not to mention outsiders. Hu Wu was certain that this soldier called Wang Zhon was definitely not from the Hu family. He was not from the Hu family, yet he mastered the heavenly tiger fist. If he did not see it with his own eyes, who would believe that there was someone in this world who also cultivated the heavenly tiger fist? The two of them were still punching out. Countless incomparably dull sounds of collision rang out continuously. Very quickly, Hu Wu was hit by a punch from Ji Yufei's doppelganger and was directly sent flying. Hu Wu directly smashed under Hu Feng's feet. Can't even withstand a single blow. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disdainfully. What? Hearing that, Hu Wu directly vomited blood from anger. Follow me, don't embarrass yourself here. Hu Feng suddenly appeared, directly grabbed Hu Wu, rushed into the sky, and directly left the East Gate military camp. Today, their Hu family's face was almost completely lost. TSK, all cowards. Ji Yufei's doppelganger originally wanted to find Hu Feng to practice with, but Hu Feng did not pay attention to him. As Hu Feng brought Hu Wu away, the show could no longer continue. The countless soldiers in the surroundings also began to gradually disperse. However, everyone was very curious about the identity of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Who exactly was this guy? Call this guy to see me. Outside the martial arts field, Dong Yuxuera said to a general beside her. Yes, Your Highness. Chapter 56:19. Wang Zhon's doppelganger had amazed the world with a single brilliant feat. Everyone who knew Wang Zhon was indescribably shocked. How could this Wang Zhon suddenly become so powerful that he could defeat the #1 expert of the Hu clan's younger generation? Hu Wu of the Black Qilin City's Hu clan was an outstanding talent among the entire Black Qilin City's younger generation. In this Black Qilin City, who didn't know of Hu Wu? But today, Hu Wu, whose name shook Black Qilin City, was defeated by a mere soldier. When the news spread, the entire city was shocked, and the patriarch of the Hu clan was even more furious. This was too embarrassing. Hu Wu was the #1 of the Hu clan's younger generation, and he was actually defeated by a mere soldier. Could it be that someone wanted to attack the Hu clan? And it was at this time. Right now, Black Qilin City was already surrounded by the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire. The army outside the city could attack at any time, so now was the time to unite. Who dared to cause trouble at this time? The Longxiong clan definitely wouldn't dare. The Tu clan and the Hu clan were allies, so the Tu clan wouldn't attack the Hu clan. And the royal family of the East Moon Empire, the East Moon clan, wouldn't attack the Hu clan at this time either. The Hu clan couldn't think of anyone who dared to touch the Hu clan. Not even in their dreams would they imagine that the little soldier, Wang Zhon, had already become a clone of Ji Yufei in the limitless realm. And Ji Yufei's clone was also targeting the Hu clan. He only wanted to teach those who dared to provoke him a lesson, to let them know that the current Wang Zhon wasn't someone to be trifled with. Since he was using Wang Zhon's identity, he had to do something for him. Right now, he couldn't use his own identity. Ji Yufei's clone was very clear about his situation. As long as he hadn't truly risen in the limitless realm, he couldn't use his own identity to walk around in the limitless realm. Because he had enemies in the limitless realm. That Sacred Lord Void Sky wasn't someone to be trifled with. Sacred Lord Void Sky almost killed Ji Yufei in order to break open the limitless realm's barrier. How could Ji Yufei let this grudge go? As Hu Feng brought Hu Wu away, the show finally came to an end. And Princess Dongyu directly summoned Ji Yufei's clone. Little guy, come with me. Ji Yufei's clone was about to return to the barracks when a general suddenly appeared in front of him. Follow you? Ji Yufei's doppelganger glanced at the general. This guy was a big guy. He was tall and muscular, full of power. Just follow me. Why are you being so long-winded? Longxiong Man shouted. At this moment, the surrounding people all retreated far away. They all looked at Dragon Elephant Man and Ji Yufei's clone in shock. Everyone was very curious about what was going on. The Dragon Elephant General is actually looking for Wang Zhon. That's the Dragon Elephant General. Which soldier in the whole Black Chelene city didn't know the dragon elephant barbarian? Half of the army in Black Chelene city was in the hands of the dragon elephant barbarian, and the other half was in the hands of the Tiger clan and the Tu clan. Of course, this was Black Chelene city, and all the troops had to listen to the Black Chelene city lord. But now, Princess Dongyu Shuai was personally overseeing Black Chelene city, so even the Black Chelene city lord had to listen to Princess Dongyu. Princess Dongyu was the most powerful person in Black Chelene city now. Why should I go with you? Ji Yu Fei's clone said indifferently. The people watching the show at the side couldn't help but give Ji Yu Fei's clone a thumbs up when they heard this. What a great guy! How dare he speak to the dragon elephant general like this? Is he courting death? Little guy, come with me. I won't mistreat you. Dragon elephant man was a little impatient. Ji Yu Fei's clone pondered for a moment and then said, lead the way. He was also very curious about who wanted to see him, but he soon thought of a person, and that was that princess of the Dongyu Empire. Ji Yu Fei's clone had long discovered that Dongyu Shuai was watching the show outside the martial arts field. So, Dragon Elephant Man led the way in front. They directly left the military camp and walked onto the street. At this time, the streets of Black Chelene city were filled with the figures of soldiers in armor. The whole city was still searching for the secret agents of the tyrannical Sky Empire. At this time, Dongyu Shuai did not dare to be careless. Black Chelene city was very important. If Black Chelene city was breached by the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire, then the entire Dongyu Empire would be in danger. Dragon Elephant Man directly led Ji Yu Fei's clone to the city lord's mansion. Along the way, the soldiers all bowed respectfully when they saw Dragon Elephant Man and then retreated to the side. Ji Yu Fei's doppelganger discovered that there was a huge building at the end of the street. This building was like a giant beast lying there. Even though it was far away, it gave off a strong sense of oppression. Dragon Elephant Man directly led Ji Yu Fei's clone to the city lord's mansion. Soon, Dragon Elephant Man and Ji Yu Fei's clone arrived at the gate of the city lord's mansion. Opening the gate, Ji Yu Fei's clone and Dragon Elephant Man directly walked in. The main hall of the city lord's mansion was empty, not even a ghost could be seen. However, on the throne in the middle of the hall sat a white-robed woman. This white-robed woman was probably Dongyu Shuai. Your Highness, I've brought her. Dragon Elephant Man stepped forward and said respectfully to the white-robed woman. Ji Yu Fei's clone stared at Dongyu Shuai on the throne. He actually couldn't see through her. Seeing the little guy staring at her, Dongyu Shuai couldn't help but frown. How dare a lowly soldier be so rude? In the eyes of Dongyu Shuai, Ji Yu Fei's clone was just a lowly soldier. She was a high and mighty princess. Who are you? Dongyu Shuai asked directly. Me? Why should I tell you? Ji Yu Fei's clone retracted his gaze. Dongyu Shuai was wearing a veil, so he couldn't see her appearance at all. Don't be presumptuous in front of Her Highness. Dragon Elephant Man growled from the side. So it's Her Highness, I apologize for my impoliteness. Ji Yu Fei's clone smiled. Tell me, who are you? Dongyu Shuai's voice was calm, but she was also very curious. Me? I'm just a nobody. Ji Yu Fei's avatar said with a smile. You're a nobody? Dongyu Shuai's voice turned cold. A nobody can defeat Hu Wu of the Tiger clan? Dongyu Shuai continued. Seems like this guy isn't willing to obediently tell me where he came from. Sigh, alright. You want to ask me how I managed to cultivate my cultivation, right? Unfortunately, the rules of my sect forbid me from telling you anything about my sect. I hope Your Highness won't take offense. Ji Yu Fei's clone began to bluff. Without a mysterious and powerful sect, how could he suppress Dongyu Shuai? Dongyu Shuai stared at Ji Yu Fei's clone as her mind raced. Does this guy really have a powerful sect behind him? This is going to be troublesome. Chapter 5620. In the easternmost region, in the Great Hall of Black Chelene City of the East Moon Empire, Ji Yu Fei's clone started to bluff. It couldn't be helped. He wasn't strong enough, so he had to bluff to make up for it. Ji Yu Fei's clone felt bitter. It's too hard for me. I have to bluff to survive in the everlasting realm. If I was in the void realm, or even the human realm, or the eternal world, would I be living so miserably? Although he was very unhappy, Ji Yufei's clone still had to bluff. You're Wang Zhon, a lowly soldier in the East Gate barracks of Black Qilin City, right? In the Great Hall, on the throne, Princess Dongyu stared at Ji Yufei's clone through her veil and said in a dignified tone. Seeing this, Ji Yufei's clone was not surprised. Someone who had been in a high position for a long time like Princess Dongyu would naturally have a kind of prestige. Even though Princess Dongyu was a woman, she still had the prestige of a person in a high position. However, for Ji Yufei's clone, it was impossible for Princess Dongyu to intimidate him. What had he not experienced along the way? He was not a true rookie, so he would not be intimidated by a great figure like Princess Dongyu. Moreover, you have a mother and a young sister at home, Princess Dongyu continued. Although it had only been an extremely short amount of time, she had still managed to learn everything about little pawn King Zhon, whom Ji Yufei's soul had possessed. With Princess Dongyue's influence in Black Qilin City, it was a piece of cake for her to investigate Wang Zhon's background. However, she would never have guessed that Wang Zhon was no longer the Wang Zhon of the past. He was no longer the Wang Zhon of the past. He was now a clone of Ji Yufei in the unbounded realm. Ji Yufei's clone was not Wang Zhon, so he would not allow others to bully him. What does your highness mean? Ji Yufei's clone couldn't help feeling a bit displeased. He had possessed Wang Zhon's physical body and was currently using Wang Zhon's identity. If someone wanted to target Wang Zhon's family, that would be unacceptable. He had no respect for Princess Dongyu at all. Nothing, I just wanted to remind you that your home is in Black Qilin City. She was very curious about this soldier, as not only did he not greet her when he saw her, he did not show any respect to her at all. That's right. It seemed like this little soldier had something to rely on. Only those who had confidence would be calm and composed, because everything was under their control. Are you threatening me? Ji Yufei's doppelganger suddenly smiled. How dare I threaten you? You have an expert backing you. Princess Dongyue's tone was still calm. I say, Your Highness, stop beating around the bush. Tell me, what do you want? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said impatiently. These people were just troublesome. It was supposed to be a simple matter, but they just had to make it so complicated. Smart. Princess Dongyu gave a thumbs up to Ji Yufei's clone below the throne. How about this? Why don't you be my guard? Princess Dongyu continued. Who cares what kind of expert this guy has behind him? I'll just tie this guy to my side first. If this guy really has an expert behind him, then the expert behind him won't just watch this guy die like that. What? Ji Yufei's doppelganger was startled. Princess Dongyu actually wanted him to be her guard. This was something he had never expected. He originally thought that Princess Dongyu would use Wang Zhon's family to threaten him to reveal his so-called master's background. What? You're not willing? If you can be my guard, I'll bring your mother and sister to the City Lord's mansion. You should know that the safest place in the entire Black Qilin City is the City Lord's mansion. Princess Dongyu stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Because of the veil, Ji Yufei's doppelganger could not see Princess Dongyue's appearance at all, nor could he see her expression. This is indeed the safest place. Ji Yufei's doppelganger could not help but nod. However, Princess Dongyu brought Wang Zhon's mother and sister into the City Lord's mansion. Wasn't this a way to use them as hostages? So you agree to be my guard? The kind that keeps you close? Princess Dongyu smiled. Personal guard? Ji Yufei's doppelganger was in disbelief. Dragon Elephant Man was also dumbfounded when he heard Princess Dongyue's words. The dignified Princess Dongyu actually wanted a lowly soldier to be her guard, and a personal guard at that. Did Her Highness really value this lowly soldier that much? I'm a man, and I want to be your personal guard. Are you serious? Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked at Princess Dongyu on the throne with a solemn expression. I'm very serious. What's the difference between a man and a woman? It's fine as long as you're capable. If you're capable enough, it's not impossible for you to become my son-in-law. Princess Dongyu said mischievously. Ji Yufei's doppelganger was shocked by Princess Dongyu. Is Princess Dongyu flirting with me? Ahem, Your Highness, please conduct yourself. I'm not such a casual person. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said awkwardly. TSK, you're daydreaming. Do you think this princess is a casual person? Princess Dongyu was really angered by this lowly soldier. Tell me, are you willing to be my personal guard? Princess Dongyu was a little impatient. I'm willing. Why wouldn't I be willing? It's such a good job. Whoever doesn't want to do it is a fool. Do I look like a fool to you? Ji Yufei's doppelganger suddenly said with a smile. Good. Dragon Elephant Man, take him to take a bath and change his clothes. Princess Dongyu was very happy. Yes, Your Highness. Dragon Elephant Man hurriedly accepted the order. He never thought that Her Highness would take a fancy to this sloppy lowly soldier and want him to be her personal guard. What does Her Highness want? Dragon Elephant Man was very envious of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. After all, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was going to become Her Highness Princess Dongyue's personal guard, and Her Highness's personal guard had always been female. Moreover, Dragon Elephant Man had never heard of a male guard among Princess Dongyue's personal guards. Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly followed Dragon Elephant Man out of the main hall of the City Lord's mansion to take a bath and change his clothes. He really did not take Princess Dongyu seriously, nor did he have any respect for her. This was not an act, because his original body was a supreme existence of the infinite prime realm. Why would Ji Yufei's doppelganger care about a mere princess of an empire? However, his current priority was to survive. In the entire Black Qilin city, the place where Princess Dongyu was definitely the safest place. Being Princess Dongyue's personal guard seemed to be not bad. Then I'll play with this princess. Chapter 56:21. Princess Dongyu Shui actually wanted Ji Yufei's clone to be her personal bodyguard. This made Ji Yufei's clone very surprised. What was Princess Dongyu trying to do? Who cares what she wants to do? I want to live first. With the current cultivation of Ji Yufei's clone, it was really difficult for him to survive in the upcoming battle. His cultivation was still too low. In this kind of battle where countless people swarmed and thousands of soldiers and horses charged and broke through the enemy lines, even a cultivator at the peak of the human level would be like a lone boat in the raging sea, drowned at any time. Ji Yufei's clone knew very well that with his cultivation, how could he resist the tide-like army of the tyrannical Sky Empire? As the princess of the Dongyu Empire, anyone could die except for Her Royal Highness. Because the Dongyu Empire could not just watch as their princess became a captive of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Right now, the safest place in the entire Black Qilin city was probably the City Lord's residence. Of course, if a battle really broke out, the City Lord's residence would also become the most dangerous place in the entire city, because the people of the tyrannical Sky Empire had long set their eyes on Princess Dongyu. How is it? Did you find out? Just as Ji Yufei's clone was taken to bathe and change by the Dragon Elephant Man, a mysterious black figure suddenly appeared in the main hall of the City Lord's residence. The black figure did not speak and only shook his head. What? Even you can't find out the origin of the person behind that lowly soldier? Princess Dongyu was shocked because she was very clear about the ability of this mysterious person. There was nothing in this world that the mysterious person's background could not be found out. This was because this mysterious person came from the Netherworld organization. This organization was mysterious and unpredictable, like a ghost. Moreover, this organization was also the largest intelligence organization in the limitless realm. Others sold cultivation resources to earn what they needed, but they sold information. It had to be said that some confidential information was indeed very valuable. What the Netherworld organization did was to collect intelligence and sell it to people or organizations that needed it. There was such a mysterious person hidden beside Princess Dongyu. This is really getting more and more interesting. Princess Dongyu smiled. Never in her wildest dreams would she have thought that Ji Yufei's doppelganger was just fooling her. There was no such thing as a mysterious sect, no such thing as a mysterious expert. It was all made up by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Even if the Netherworld organization was extremely capable, they could not find out anything. At this moment, many people in Black Chelin City had their eyes on Ji Yufei clone because he had shocked everyone in the training field at the Eastern Gate military camp. When the tyrannical Sky Empire army surrounded the city, a person suddenly appeared in the Eastern Gate military camp. Such a person naturally attracted the attention from various forces. At this time, within the tyrannical Sky Empire's army camp, Lord Ba Fei and Commander-in-Chief Wu Liang were also looking for spies. Because Ji Yufei's clone had infiltrated the camp, both Ba Fei and Wu Liang were furious. Dong Yu did not Fei, Ji Yufei, Dong Yu Fei. However, they were destined to be unable to find anything, as Ji Yufei's clone had already become Princess Dongyue's personal guard at this moment. The news that Ji Yufei's clone was summoned by the princess and did not return spread. The entire military camp was in an uproar, and everyone was guessing what had happened. The person who was most worried about Ji Yufei's clone was naturally Black Tiger. He and Wang Zhon's father were sworn brothers, and Wang Zhon's father had even saved Black Tiger's life on the battlefield. However, with Black Tiger's status, it was impossible for him to know what had happened to Ji Yufei's clone, so he could only wait. Not long after, Ji Yufei's clone appeared outside the Eastern Gate military camp of Black Chelin City. Wang Zhon is back. As the news spread, countless soldiers in the Eastern Gate military camp rushed toward the gate. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone was wearing embroidered clothes with a saber hanging on his waist. He wore leather shoes and was in high spirits. Halt! Just as Ji Yufei's clone was about to enter the military camp, he was stopped by the guards. What? You won't let me in? Look carefully, I'm your dear Wang Zhon, Ji Yufei's clone shouted. His current identity was Wang Zhon. In the Eastern Gate military camp, Black Tiger was the only person Wang Zhon cared about. Black Tiger took good care of Wang Zhon. If it were not for Black Tiger, Wang Zhon would have died many times over. Therefore, Ji Yufei's clone did not want Black Tiger to stay in the Eastern Gate military camp. If he stayed, he would not even know how he died. He had offended both the Black Chelin City's Tiger family and the Tu family. With the power of the Tiger family and the Tu family, it would be a piece of cake for them to find out his background. At that time, the Tiger family and the Tu family would not dare to cause trouble for him, but they would attack Black Tiger. Black Tiger was just a veteran. Like Wang Zhon, he did not have any background. If the Tiger family and the Tu family wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. Ji Yufei's clone naturally did not want to implicate Black Tiger. Just as Ji Yufei's clone appeared at the entrance of the Eastern Gate military camp, Black Tiger was blocked in a corner by Tu Xiao and a dozen ruffian soldiers in his barracks. Master Tu, I did not offend you. What do you want? Black Tiger looked at Tu Xiao anxiously. It had to be said that Tu Xiao's injury recovered really quickly. He had just been treated by Ji Yufei's clone, and he immediately came to cause trouble for Black Tiger. This was because the Tu family had already found out about Wang Zhon's background. How could he allow himself to be humiliated by a small soldier? Since Tu Xiao could not find Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon, he could only look for Black Tiger. Hehe, you did not offend me, but Wang Zhon has offended me badly. Since I can't find Wang Zhon, I should at least collect some interest. Tu Xiao grinned as he stared at Black Tiger. This is the military camp. Don't mess around. Black Tiger clenched the hilt of his saber tightly as a cold murderous aura spread from his body. Old man, you still want to fight with us? A ruffian soldier mocked when he saw Black Tiger's right hand gripping his saber tightly. Why are you still talking nonsense with this guy? Hurry up and get rid of him. Then, we can go to the drunken spring house in the city to have some fun. Another ruffian laughed. Then you go. A ruffian soldier with a protruding mouth and cheeks mocked. This guy belongs to Master Tu. I dare not fight with him. Master Tu, do you need us to help you deal with this guy first? The other ruffian soldiers rubbed their fists and asked. Black Tiger, today is the anniversary of your death. Tu Xiao grinned as he closed in on Black Tiger. Bam! At this moment, the door of the barracks was suddenly kicked open. Whose death anniversary is it today? A voice that scared Tu Xiao out of his wits came from outside the barracks. Tu Xiao turned around in horror and looked at the man. Large beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. Looks like you're asking for a beating again. Chapter 56-22. Wang Zhon. Boundless Realm, Easternmost Domain, East Moon Empire, Black Chilean City. Tu Xiao appeared in the barracks at the east gate of Black Chilean City. He even blocked Black Tiger in the barracks. They had already investigated Wang Zhon's background. He was just a foot soldier with no background at all. They had no idea why Wang Zhon had suddenly become so powerful. But even so, could Wang Zhon contend against the entire Tu family? Inside the barracks, just as Tu Xiao was about to teach Black Tiger a lesson, Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhon suddenly appeared, scaring Tu Xiao out of his wits. This was because the person who had come was Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon. Nephew Wang Zhon, you're back? Are you all right? Black Tiger was both surprised and delighted to see Wang Zhon suddenly appear. Furthermore, Wang Zhon was dressed in clean clothes, leather shoes, and had a long saber hanging from his waist. He looked very imposing. Wang Zhon was no longer a foot soldier. He was practically a different person. Haha, Uncle Black, I'm fine. But you're in big trouble now. Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhon laughed as he strode into the barracks. Nephew Wang Zhon, hurry up and leave. Black Tiger panicked. These guys were here to cause trouble for Wang Zhon. Since they couldn't find Wang Zhon, they came to find him. They're the ones who should get lost. Ji Yufei's clone glanced at Tu Xiao. His gaze then landed on an inconspicuous elder in green beside Tu Xiao. This elder had a medium build and an ordinary appearance. He didn't attract anyone's attention as he stood beside Tu Xiao. Wang Zhon, I was just worried that I couldn't find you. You're dead this time. After Tu Xiao calmed down, he roared at Ji Yufei's clone with a sinister smile. His expression was a little crazy because he had been tortured badly by Ji Yufei's clone. However, it was different today because he had brought an expert with him. Otherwise, why would he dare to cause trouble for Ji Yufei's clone? I'm dead. Are you sure you're not the one who's dead? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said to Tu Xiao with a faint smile. Haha, you still don't know when you're about to die. How pitiful. Tu Xiao laughed maniacally. Sigh, you say that I'm pitiful, but you don't know that the real pitiful person is you. Ji Yufei's doppelganger shook his head and sighed. Preposterous. Uncle Bao, break his arms and legs, but don't kill him. I want him to regret being born into this world. After saying that, Tu Xiao retreated. At the same time, the green-robed elder next to Tu Xiao walked up. So you came prepared this time. Ji Yufei's doppelganger smiled. Hee. Tu Xiao didn't say anything. He just stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger and grinned hideously. He hated Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, to the core. At this time, the green-robed elder suddenly raised his head and stared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon. His eyes flickered, and a powerful aura spread from the elder's body. Once again, countless soldiers gathered outside the barracks to watch the show. This was the barracks. When Ji Yufei's doppelganger appeared again at the East Gate barracks, it caused a sensation. One should know that Ji Yufei's doppelganger had defeated Hu Wu, the number one among the younger generation of the Hu family. The battle between Ji Yufei's doppelganger and Hu Wu made him a popular person in the East Gate barracks. All the forces in Black Chilean City had their eyes on him. Even the fact that Ji Yufei's doppelganger had become Princess Dongyue's personal bodyguard was known by some people. Half-step to Earth rank. Ji Yufei's doppelganger finally understood why Tu Xiao dared to come looking for him. It was because this guy thought that a half-step to Earth rank cultivator could kill him. Hearing the words of Ji Yufei's doppelganger, the green-robed elder's pupils shrank. The green-robed elder didn't think much of this little guy, but when he saw that the little guy was still so calm after he released his aura, he had no choice but to take him seriously. Uncle Bao, why aren't you beating this guy up? Tu Xiao, who was hiding behind the green-robed elder, roared. Swoosh. The green-robed elder made his move. He stretched out his right hand and directly grabbed at the face of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The green-robed elder's 5 fingers on his right hand emitted a green glow. If he grabbed it, even a piece of godly metal would have 5 holes in it. Gu Fei's doppelganger didn't have the indestructible body of Vajra. If he was grabbed, he would also die. Gu Fei's doppelganger's head tilted to the right, and the green-robed elder's right claw directly grabbed the doppelganger's left ear. At the same time, Gu Fei's doppelganger's right leg shot out like an arrow towards the green-robed elder's abdomen. As a martialist, Gu Fei had never been afraid of anyone when it came to close combat. Even if the opponent's cultivation was higher than his, it was the same. Although Wang Zhong was only one of Gu Fei's doppelgangers in the unbounded realm, no one could compare to him in terms of combat experience. Die! The green-robed elder roared angrily. His left hand was as fast as lightning as he grabbed at the chest of Gu Fei's doppelganger. He completely ignored the kick from Gu Fei's doppelganger. If Gu Fei's doppelganger's kick landed, the green-robed elder would naturally be seriously injured, if not dead. However, if the green-robed elder grabbed Gu Fei's doppelganger, then Gu Fei's doppelganger would definitely die. In the unbounded realm, all living creatures had very long lifespans. However, if the living creatures here suffered a fatal injury, they would still die. Immortality here was relative, not absolute. Even in the unbounded realm, there were no living creatures that were absolutely immortal. What a guy! Gu Fei's doppelganger couldn't help but be moved. This guy was a ruthless character. The other party's goal was very simple, and that was to exchange injury for life. The green-robed elder wanted to kill Gu Fei's doppelganger even if he had to take a kick from Gu Fei's doppelganger. Gu Fei's doppelganger naturally wouldn't risk his life against this guy, and there was no need for him to do so. He executed his movement technique and didn't retract his kick. His body swayed in the void, and his entire body disappeared from where he was. All of the green-robed elder's attacks instantly missed. What? The green-robed elder was really shocked. This guy was not simple at all. He was indeed a genius to be able to defeat Hu Wu. How could such a guy be a lowly soldier? At this moment, a cry of alarm came from outside the barracks. Be careful. Tu Xiao also cried out in alarm. This was because they saw Wang Zhong, who had disappeared from where he was, appear above the green-robed elder's head. Then, he stomped down on the green-robed elder's head. The green-robed elder raised his right hand. Bam! Gu Fei's doppelganger's foot directly landed on the green-robed elder's hand. Chapter 56-23. The current Wang Zhong was Gu Fei's avatar in the limitless realm. He had all the battle experience that Gu Fei had. Even if he were to face a half-step Earth rank cultivator, he would not be afraid. The stronger a martial artist was, the stronger they would be. This was not an empty saying. At this time, in a barracks at the east gate of Black Chilean City, Gu Fei's avatar, Wang Zhong, was facing off against the old servant in green that Tu Xiao brought. Tu Xiao had come prepared this time. As soon as the green-robed old servant made his move, Gu Fei's doppelganger immediately saw through him. This unassuming green-robed old servant was actually a half-step Earth rank. Gu Fei's avatar used his movement technique and directly dodged the old servant's attack. In an instant, he appeared above the old servant's head and stomped down on the old servant's head. Bam! The old servant in green raised his hand to block the foot of Gu Fei's avatar. His body suddenly sank, and both his feet directly broke the green bricks under his feet and sank into the ground. At this time, the old servant in green's mood could no longer be described as surprised. Instead, he was shocked. Wasn't this guy a small soldier? How could he have such combat strength? The combat strength that Gu Fei's avatar displayed was somewhat shocking. But what shocked the old servant the most was that he could not see through the little guy's actual strength. He could not sense the little guy's true cultivation at all. At this time, Gu Fei's avatar borrowed the recoil force and flipped over. With his head down and feet up, he punched towards the old servant in green. A violent fist force erupted from his fist like a volcanic eruption. It was extremely ferocious. Bone-crushing claw. The old servant in green's right hand once again grabbed out like lightning. On top of his 5 fingers, a green light flickered, and directly met the fist of Gu Fei's avatar. He wanted to cripple the right hand of Gu Fei's avatar. The green-robed old man's right claw directly broke through the fist force of Ji Yufei's doppelganger and was about to grab Ji Yufei's doppelganger's fist. At this critical moment, Ji Yufei's clone's fist disappeared. The green-robed old man was shocked. Bam! With a muffled sound, Ji Yufei's clone suddenly disappeared, but his fist had already smashed into the green-clothed old man's chest, and an even stronger fist force instantly burst out. The sound of bones breaking could be heard from the green-robed old man's body. The green-robed old man was sent flying by the punch from Ji Yufei's doppelganger. He crashed into Tu Xiao, who was hiding behind him. The two of them rolled on the ground. Tu Xiao's subordinates hurried forward to help them up. Even Uncle Leopard is no match for this guy. Tu Xiao was depressed. He had thought that with Uncle Leopard, who was half a step into the Earth rank, they would be able to beat Wang Zhon. Who would have thought that Wang Zhon could actually beat a half step into the Earth rank? Half step into the Earth rank. Even Hu Wu, the number one among the younger generation of the Hu family, was absolutely no match for a half step into the Earth rank. Ah, Tu Xiao, what do you want me to say to you? You've been beaten by me so many times, but you still haven't learned your lesson. Tell me, how should I deal with you? Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, looked at the frightened Tu Xiao with a faint smile. Little guy, where possible, one should forgive and forget. The Tu family is not something you can contend with. The green-robed old man, who had been punched by Ji Yufei's doppelganger, stood in front of Tu Xiao. Although he had been punched by Ji Yufei's doppelganger and his sternum had been shattered, he was, after all, a half step into the Earth rank. He could still suppress the injury. Is that so? Ji Yufei's doppelganger took a step forward, and a powerful aura erupted from his body. Tu Xiao and his subordinates were terrified to the extreme. Kid, don't go too far. Just then, a figure appeared outside the door of the barracks. Hu Feng, it's you again? Ji Yufei's doppelganger knew who it was the moment he heard the voice. At this time, the Earth rank warrior, Hu Feng, walked into the barracks step by step. A powerful Earth rank aura erupted from his body, and the surrounding people retreated in fear. Ordinary soldiers could not withstand the aura of an Earth rank warrior. However, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was still calm and composed in the face of such an aura. This is between me and Tu Xiao. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with your Hu family. Ji Yufei's doppelganger didn't even turn around. He didn't even put Hu Feng in his eyes. Nephew Wang Zhon, don't be rude to Hu Zhong's army. When Black Tiger saw Hu Feng's arrival, he was already scared out of his wits. When he saw that Ji Yufei's doppelganger actually ignored Hu Feng, he couldn't help but remind him. Uncle Black, don't worry. This guy won't dare to do anything to me. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disapprovingly. Uncle, Tu Xiao was overjoyed when he saw Hu Feng. With Hu Feng here, Wang Zhon was going to be out of luck. He didn't believe that with Hu Feng's cultivation and battle strength, he wouldn't be able to deal with Wang Zhon. It should be known that Hu Feng was a true Earth rank warrior. Haha, little guy, do you know what you're saying? Hu Feng arrived behind Ji Yufei's doppelganger and sneered. Of course I know what I'm saying. It's just that you haven't figured out the situation yet. Ji Yufei's doppelganger still didn't turn around, and his back was still facing Hu Feng. This made Hu Feng furious. This guy was only a small soldier, yet he dared to look down on him like this. Preposterous. I originally didn't want to make a move. Since you want to court death, I'll fulfill your wish. Hu Feng said as he stretched out his right hand and directly grabbed towards the head of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. His speed was extremely fast. This was just a casual grab, but compared to the green-clothed old man, its power was who knew how many times stronger. This was the difference between an Earth rank warrior and a half-step Earth rank warrior. Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly stretched out his hand in front of Hu Feng. Then, Hu Feng's right hand that was grabbing towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly stopped in the air. His entire body seemed to have been cast by someone, and he didn't move at all. He saw that Ji Yufei's doppelganger was holding a token in his hand. Hu Feng was shocked to the extreme. How could this guy have this kind of token? I already said that you wouldn't dare to do anything to me, but you just didn't believe me. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said with a smile. Hu Feng didn't know what to say for a moment, and his face became very ugly. After hesitating for a moment, Hu Feng directly turned around and left. Uncle, when Tu Xiao saw this scene, he was directly dumbfounded. Uncle actually left just like that. What about me? I originally thought that Hu Feng could stand up for me. Who would have thought that this would be the result? Now, no one can save you. Ji Yufei kept the token in his hand, and then stared at the shivering Tu Xiao. What do you want? Tu Xiao hid behind the green-clothed old man. What do you think I want? Chapter 56-24. The miserable Tu Xiao miscalculated again. Even Hu Feng, a true Earthstage expert, was intimidated by the token in Ji Yufei's clone's hand, let alone the elder who was half a step away from Earthstage. Hu Feng was Tu Xiao's uncle. It seemed that Hu Feng did not care about his nephew's life. There was only one person in the entire Black Qilin City that even the Hu clan of Black Qilin City did not dare to offend, and that was the princess of the Dongyu Empire, Dongyu Shui. Tu Xiao, you keep finding trouble with me. It seems that you don't want to live anymore. In the barracks at the East Gate, in the barracks where the Black Tiger was, Ji Yufei's clone stared at Tu Xiao, who was hiding behind the elder in green, and said coldly, Wang Zhon, I am a direct descendant of the Tu clan. If you kill me, do you think the Tu clan will let you go? Tu Xiao shouted at Ji Yufei's clone with a stern expression. Haha, you still want to threaten me at this time? Ji Yufei's clone laughed heartily. If he was afraid of the Tu clan, he would not have attacked Tu Xiao. Since he had already attacked, it meant that he was not afraid of the Tu clan of Black Qilin City. Moreover, he had defeated the number one person in the younger generation of the Hu clan. He had also offended the Hu clan. So what? Don't be reckless. You have to know that you still have family in Black Qilin City. Tu Xiao clenched his teeth. Sigh, you still won't admit that you're stupid. Alright, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. I want to see if the Tu clan will stand up for you. Ji Yufei's clone attacked as he spoke. This guy had already touched his reverse scale. Whether he was Wang Zhon or not, his family was still his reverse scale. Whoever touched his reverse scale would have serious consequences. How dare you? The elder in green roared, and his claws tore at Ji Yufei's clone. It was impossible for him to watch Tu Xiao get killed, because if Tu Xiao died, even if this little guy called Wang Zhon didn't kill him, he would definitely not be able to live. Ji Yufei's doppelganger's right hand danced, his 5 fingers forming the shape of an eagle's beak, directly pecking the joints on both sides of the green-robed old man's shoulders. The old man's arms immediately drooped. You, the accomplice, can't be let go either. Ji Yufei's doppelganger followed up with another punch. The next moment, his fist directly smashed into the green-clothed old man's chest, and in the same spot. The green-clothed old man had already been punched by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Now that Ji Yufei's doppelganger had punched him in the same spot on his chest, his sternum could no longer withstand the force of the punch. Bam! Catcher! The sound of bones breaking could be heard from the green-clothed old man's body. Then, his entire chest collapsed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ji Yufei's doppelganger hurriedly withdrew his fist and dodged to the side. He didn't want to be spat out by this guy's blood. This green-clothed old man was Tu Xiao's accomplice, and Tu Xiao was not a good person. In the East City of Black Qilin City, this guy was not only tyrannical in the East Gate military camp. In the entire East City, there was no one who didn't know his name. Of course, Tu Xiao was a guy who bullied the weak and feared the strong. He relied on the Tu family and the Hu family to harm many people. If he encountered a tough opponent, he would call for help. Many cultivators had died in the hands of this green-clothed old man. However, now that they had encountered Ji Yufei's doppelganger, their luck had come to an end. The green-clothed old man didn't believe that Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, would really kill him. After all, the East City was the Tu family's territory, and the Tu family and the Hu family were allies. How could a mere combat soldier dare to offend 2 great forces in Black Qilin City at the same time? Even though Ji Yufei's doppelganger had injured the green-clothed old man, the green-clothed old man didn't believe that Ji Yufei's doppelganger would kill him. However, It was a pity that he had guessed wrong this time. Uncle Bao, Tu Xiao was dumbfounded. Tu Bao was one of the 4 most loyal servants under his father. Who would have thought that Wang Zhon would really dare to kill him? Tu Bao was paralyzed on the ground, and it seemed like he was going to die. Tu Xiao's face turned pale with fright. His subordinates immediately fled in all directions and rushed toward the entrance of the barracks. None of them cared about their master, Tu Xiao's life or death. This was the reality. Although Tu Xiao was their master, his life was not as important as theirs. Even Tu Bao was killed by Wang Zhon. Wouldn't they be courting death if they went up? You guys. Tu Xiao was depressed when he saw his subordinates abandoning him and running for their lives. Sigh, it seems like your subordinates are unreliable. Ji Yufei's doppelganger sighed and said, Master Zhon, please spare my life. Tu Xiao immediately knelt in front of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Why? Are you going to be a coward until the end? Ji Yufei's doppelganger wasn't surprised at all. He knew Tu Xiao's character very well. This guy bullied the weak and feared the strong. It wasn't the first time that he admitted defeat when he met a tough opponent. However, even though he admitted defeat in front of them, he would still invite experts like Tu Bao to kill them. But now, the experts he invited could no longer help him defeat Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Instead, they were defeated by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Master Zhon, as long as you spare my life, I'm willing to do anything for you. Tu Xiao said in horror. There was no other way. His trump card was useless. Tu Bao was killed, and Hu Feng turned and left. At this time, Tu Xiao really had no other choice but to kneel and beg for mercy. If there was a way to kill Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, he would have done it long ago. Sigh, what should I do? You're definitely going to die this time. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said indifferently. No, you can't kill me. Tu Xiao's body trembled as he lay on the ground. He was so scared that he peed his pants. The bad things you've done are enough for you to die 10 or even 100 times. Good and evil will always be repaid. It's not that retribution isn't coming, but that the time hasn't come yet. Now, your time has come. Ji Yufei's doppelganger didn't want to talk nonsense with this guy anymore. Just as he was about to step forward and kill this guy, a figure suddenly stood in front of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Nephew Wang Zhon, don't. The person standing in front of Ji Yufei's doppelganger was Black Tiger. Uncle Black, why are you doing this? Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, was speechless when he saw this. Tu Xiao had bullied Black Tiger and Wang Zhon many times before Ji Yufei's spiritual force took over Wang Zhon's body. Now that he had a chance to take revenge, why did Black Tiger stand in front of him? Nephew, the Tu family isn't something we can offend. If you kill this guy now, you might feel good for a while, but there will be endless troubles in the future. You have to think about your mother and sister, Black Tiger said helplessly. Uncle Black, don't worry. The Tu family wouldn't dare to do anything to me. My mother and sister should be at the City Lord Mansion by now. Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, said indifferently. What? Chapter 56-25. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Tu Xiao, the arrogant tyrant of Black Qilin City, was desperately begging for mercy. His head was bleeding profusely from hitting the bricks on the ground. He just wanted to live. However, no one pitied him. Not only did this fellow abuse the Eastern Gate military camp, but he also relied on the fact that he was a direct descendant of the Tu family and that his father had the help of the Sky Tiger gang. Who knew how many citizens of the Eastern City had died at his hands? Good and evil would always be rewarded. It was not that the time had not come yet. Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, did not hesitate and directly pointed a finger. Blood suddenly appeared, and Tu Xiao, the young master of the Sky Tiger gang, who ran amok in the east city of Black Qilin City, died just like that. Ji Yufei's doppelganger killed a scumbag like Tu Xiao without hesitation. Getting rid of such a sinful guy could save countless innocent people. Seeing that Ji Yufei's doppelganger had killed Tu Xiao, the entire place was silent. Everyone was stunned. They had never expected Wang Zhon to kill Tu Xiao. Because of Tu Xiao's status, As long as his actions did not affect the interests of those big shots, those generals would turn a blind eye to him and ignore him. However, this time, Tu Xiao should not have provoked Wang Zhong, who had been possessed by Ji Yufei's divine consciousness. The current Wang Zhong was no longer the Wang Zhong of the past. Provoking him would result in dire consequences. This, Black Tiger was dumbfounded. His nephew had really dared to kill him. "Uncle Black, come with me," Ji Yufei's doppelganger said to Black Tiger. Black Tiger nodded. If he did not leave now, he might be the one to die tomorrow. Since Wang Zhong had killed Tu Xiao, the Tu family would not let it go. Tu Xiao was a direct descendant of the Tu family, and his sister was married to a big shot in the Tiger family. With these two connections, neither the Tu family nor the Tiger family would sit idly by. If the Tu family or the Tiger family wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as killing an ant. Black Tiger didn't want to die, so it followed Ji Yufei's doppelganger and left the East Gate barracks. Moreover, since Ji Yufei's doppelganger Wang Zhong asked him to leave with him, he naturally had a way to take him away from the East Gate military camp. Ji Yufei's doppelganger took the Black Tiger and left the East Gate military camp. As long as he showed his token, no one dared to stop them. Ji Yufei's doppelganger Wang Zhong had just left when Tiger Wind, who had left earlier, directly rushed into the living quarters. When Hu Feng saw Tu Xiao's lifeless body on the ground, he couldn't help but become furious. Although he looked down on Tu Xiao, he was still his nephew. Tu Xiao was dead. As his uncle, if he did not stand up for him, wouldn't he be ridiculed by others? "Wang Zhong, I'll kill you," Hu Feng roared, turned around and rushed out of the barracks. Wang Zhong had publicly killed Tu Xiao, which gave Hu Feng an excuse to attack. Even if he killed Wang Zhong, Princess Dongyu wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Tu Xiao was suddenly useless, but he was still a soldier of the East Gate military camp. Wang Zhong killing Tu Xiao was a big deal. "Wang Zhong, hand over your life." An angry roar sounded on the East Gate's main street. A figure descended from the sky and pounced towards the two people below. The main street immediately became chaotic. Hu Feng, Ji Yufei's doppelganger Wang Zhong and Black Tiger were walking on the main street when they suddenly encountered Hu Feng's attack. He pushed the Black Tiger aside and took a step to the side. A claw directly brushed past his clothes and scratched the ground. 5 finger-sized holes immediately appeared on the hard bluestone ground. A black figure descended from the sky and landed directly where Ji Yufei's doppelganger was originally standing. If Ji Yufei's doppelganger had been a split second slower, there would have been 5 finger-sized holes on his head. This was an attack from a true Earth-class warrior. Although Hu Feng was only at the initial stage of the Earth class, he was still a true Earth-class warrior. Hu Feng was not someone that half-step Earth-class Tu Bao could compare to. "Hu Feng, you despicable bastard." Ji Yufei's doppelganger was furious. The opponent was an Earth-class warrior, and he dared to sneak up on him. "Wang Zhong, so what if you're Her Highness's man? You killed Tu Xiao, so I'll bury you with him." Hu Feng roared and attacked. Countless claw shadows appeared in the air, covering the sky and earth as they grabbed towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger, wanting to tear him to pieces. 10,000 techniques returned to truth. Ji Yufei's doppelganger hugged the air in front of him. In the next moment, a powerful devouring force came out from the empty space where he hugged. The claw shadows that covered the sky and earth were directly swallowed by this devouring force. They all disappeared into the empty space where Ji Yufei's doppelganger was hugging. A ball of green light appeared in the empty space where Ji Yufei's doppelganger was hugging. A powerful wave of energy spread out from the ball of green light. "What?" Hu Feng was indescribably shocked. His trump card was broken by this guy just like that. What kind of divine ability is this? Hu Feng was shocked and angry. It seemed that this little soldier called Wang Zhong really had a fortuitous encounter. It should be known that the cultivation method of divine abilities was not passed on to outsiders. The Tiger clan was one of the 3 major cultivation clans in Black Qilin City. The Tiger clan naturally had all kinds of divine ability cultivation methods. The Tiger clan's cultivation methods were naturally not passed on to outsiders. Hu Feng had already investigated Wang Zhong's background. This little soldier didn't have any background at all. But now, he had grasped the cultivation method of divine abilities and also cultivated a divine ability. He was extremely curious. How did this guy go from an ordinary little soldier to a cultivator who could defeat Hu Wu? Under Hu Feng's shocked gaze, Ji Yufei's doppelganger actually directly devoured Hu Feng's power. When Hu Feng saw this scene, he had no choice but to be moved. This guy could actually devour his power. If he could obtain this kind of divine ability, wouldn't he be able to break through his cultivation realm in a very short period of time? Hu Feng was moved. He originally wanted to get rid of this guy called Wang Zhon, but now, he changed his mind. Yin Wind Claw. Hu Feng's hands danced. Blade Path Claw shadows appeared again. Countless claw shadows once again grabbed towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. A powerful wave of energy spread out, and suddenly, gusts of yin wind appeared on the street. At this moment, there were countless people watching the battle from afar. Heaven-splitting blade. Ji Yufei's doppelganger raised his right hand high and directly used his hand as a blade. A hand blade directly chopped towards Hu Feng. Chapter 56-26. Ji Yufei was a martial artist, and the purest martial artist in the world at that. His clone was naturally a martial artist as well. In terms of battle experience, even in the limitless realm, there weren't many who could compare to him. At this time, Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon, was facing Hu Feng, the Earth Stage warrior, on the east street of Black Chilean City. His battle intent was like a rainbow. Because this was the first time he had truly challenged someone of a higher rank after possessing Wang Zhon's body. He didn't even put Tu Bao, who was half a step into the Earth Stage, in his eyes. But now that he was facing Hu Feng, Ji Yufei's clone had no choice but to get serious. He slashed out with his saber, and saber aura immediately rushed out from his hand saber, directly splitting the countless claw shadows that covered the sky and covered the earth in half. The saber aura that Ji Yufei's clone slashed out spread out, and the countless claw shadows that Hu Feng had grabbed disappeared into the void, disappearing into nothingness. Hu Feng's gloomy wind claw was incomparably insidious. Although the claw shadows were dispersed by Ji Yufei's clone's saber aura, the gloomy cold power swept towards Ji Yufei's clone from all directions. A layer of frost immediately appeared on the ground around Ji Yufei's clone. Ji Yufei's clone sneered. Both feet pushed off the ground, and he directly leaped up. At the same time, a layer of frost instantly appeared on the ground where he had been standing. Gloomy wind palm. Hu Feng roared, and his palm slammed towards Ji Yufei's clone in the air. A powerful gloomy cold palm force erupted, and the void seemed to solidify. 10,000 techniques returned to truth. Ji Yufei's clone once again used one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, the secret art of returning to truth. In the next moment, Hu Feng's palm force was immediately transformed into the most primitive spiritual energy, which was devoured and absorbed by him. Feeling that his palm force had instantly disappeared, Hu Feng's shock was no small matter. This guy's divine ability was really strange and mysterious. The 9 secrets of the immortal Tao were the trump card of Ji Yufei's clone, and also the source of his confidence. With the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao in his possession, even if Ji Yufei's clone were to go up against Hu Feng, who was a true initial stage Earth Stage cultivator, he felt that he would be able to contend against him. You have the Yin Wind Palm and I have the Raging Inferno Fist. Let's see if your Yin Wind Palm is stronger or if my Raging Inferno Fist is stronger. As Ji Yufei's doppelganger spoke, he launched a palm technique that descended from the sky. A scorching hot fist force erupted from Ji Yufei's right fist, blasting towards Hu Feng below. The fist force was extremely violent. Even the onlookers who were watching the battle from afar felt a wave of heat hitting their faces. Who is this person? He actually dared to exchange blows with Hu Feng. That's an Earth Stage existence. The onlookers were gesticulating. Wang Zhon was originally an unremarkable nobody in the east city of Black Chilean City. Before Ji Yufei's divine sense took over Wang Zhon's body, who would have known a soldier named Wang Zhon? Even now, Wang Zhon's name had already spread throughout the entire Black Chilean City, but the number of people who had actually seen Ji Yufei's doppelganger was few and far between. Grandpa, it's that guy from that night. At the window of a restaurant next to the East City Main Street sat an old man and a young girl. The old man and young girl were the noodle shop owner Chu Yin and his granddaughter Chu Xiaoye. If Ji Yufei's doppelganger Wang Zhon knew that Chu Yin and Chu Xiaoye were still in Black Qilin City, he would definitely be shocked. One had to know that the current Black Qilin City was not the same as before. Ji Yuzhon. Chu Yin looked at the figure that descended from the sky like a god descending from the heavens and punched towards Hu Feng. His pupils couldn't help but contract. They didn't know that Ji Yuzhon was Wang Zhon. This guy seems to have gotten stronger, Chu Xiaoye said thoughtfully. Bam! At this moment, a muffled sound came from the street. Chu Xiaoye looked out of the window and saw that Hu Feng's right palm had collided with Ji Yufei's doppelganger's right fist. Hu Feng's body sank, and the green bricks under his feet were immediately shattered. This guy, Hu Feng, was incomparably shocked. The power of Ji Yufei's doppelganger's punch was surprisingly great. It actually shook his right arm to the point of numbness. Great absorption technique, Ji Yufei shouted. In the next moment, his fist that was pressed against Hu Feng's right palm immediately produced a powerful devouring power, continuously sucking away the power of Hu Feng's palm. Hu Feng turned pale with fright. This guy was actually devouring his Yuan Qi. The powerful Yuan Qi surged into Ji Yufei's doppelganger's body and was directly refined and absorbed by him. He could feel his own Yuan Qi constantly strengthening. You want to devour my Yuan Qi? Hu Feng sneered. In the next moment, an even more powerful force exploded from his palm that was sucked in by the doppelganger's fist. He wanted to send the doppelganger flying. However, the force that exploded from Hu Feng's right hand was directly sucked away by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Like a clay ox entering the sea, it disappeared without a trace. How is this possible? Hu Feng panicked a little. Thank you. The more the better. Continue. Ji Yufei's doppelganger was happy. This guy actually gave his Yuan Qi to him for free. Naturally, he would not refuse and directly accepted it. Damn it. Hu Feng wanted to retract his palm, but it was firmly sucked in by the opponent's fist. He wanted to retract his fist, but he couldn't. He wanted to send the opponent flying, but he couldn't. At this moment, Hu Feng was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. Hu Feng's Yuan Qi was continuously sucked away by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Very quickly, his aura became weak. This couldn't go on. Hu Feng gritted his teeth. In the next instant, he actually drew all the Yuan Qi in his body. This earth-rank powerful Yuan Qi crazily surged towards his right palm. The strength of this force made even Ji Yufei's doppelganger's expression involuntarily change. But he did not retract his fist. If he could devour this force that exploded from Hu Feng's palm, his cultivation might be able to break through to earth-rank initial realm. Fight. Ji Yufei's doppelganger gritted his teeth and displayed the 10,000 laws of return to truth secret art at full power. At the same time, an extremely berserk yin wind palm force erupted from Hu Feng's right palm. However, this force simply did not have the chance to truly erupt. It was actually directly devoured by Ji Yufei's doppelganger into his body. Ji Yufei's doppelganger only felt that the qi and blood in his body seemed to be about to solidify. This wave of yin-cold Yuan Qi was really strong. He was almost frozen stiff. But at this moment, Hu Feng was incomparably weak. His entire body was paralyzed on the ground. Ji Yufei's doppelganger barely suppressed the yin-cold Yuan Qi in his body. Then, he directly grabbed the black tiger and quickly headed towards the city lord's residence. Wherever they passed, the onlookers would make way for them. Ji Yufei's doppelganger had Princess Dongyue's token on him. He could enter and exit the city lord's residence at will. He directly flashed the token, and the guards at the gate did not dare to stop him at all. Honorable nephew, what's wrong? As soon as Ji Yufei's doppelganger entered the city lord's residence, he directly sat cross-legged under a large tree at the gate of the city lord's residence. Very soon, a layer of frost appeared on his body. When the black tiger saw this scene, it was dumbfounded. This guy really knows how to cause trouble. Chapter 56-27. The physical body of Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon, was too weak. Even if he had already started cultivating the martial path, the time was too short, and the transformation of the martial body required time. Of course, unless Ji Yufei's clone could find a miraculous medicine that could temper the martial body, his martial body wouldn't be able to transform in a short period of time and become stronger. Otherwise, he could only rely on cultivation to slowly transform the martial body. With the current status of Ji Yufei's clone, it was impossible for him to obtain a miraculous medicine that could transform the martial body. In the limitless realm, miraculous medicines that could increase one's cultivation or make one more powerful were also very precious. They couldn't be bought even if one had money. This time, he was really a bit impatient, and he also overestimated the endurance of Wang Zhon's physical body. After he entered the city lord's mansion, he couldn't bear it any longer. The cold yin qi that Ji Yufei's clone absorbed from Hu Feng was too huge. After all, Hu Feng was an earth rank expert, and his yin qi was also earth rank. If it was an ordinary peak human rank cultivator, they would have long been frozen into an iceman by this yin qi. Although Hu Feng's cultivation wasn't much in the entire Black Qilin city, he was still an earth rank expert. Even in the Tiger clan, an earth rank expert like Hu Feng had a high status. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon, was sitting under a tree not far from the city lord's mansion. His entire body was covered in a layer of frost. The black tiger was at a loss and extremely anxious, but it couldn't do anything. What a restless fellow. A masked woman in white quietly appeared under the tree and looked indifferently at Ji Yufei, who was sitting cross-legged under the tree. This was a flaming dragon tree, and there were scarlet dragon-like flowers growing on the tree. At this moment, every dragon-shaped flower on the flaming dragon tree was emitting a hazy scarlet brilliance. The fire dragon tree contained fire elemental spiritual energy, and it was actually one of the array cores of the City Lord Manor's protective array. It was not a coincidence that Ji Yufei's doppelganger was sitting cross-legged under this big tree, refining the cold yin yuan qi that he swallowed from Hu Feng. This was because this location was where all the fire yuan qi in the entire city master's mansion gathered. The fire elemental spiritual energy here was the nemesis of the cold yin energy in Ji Yufei's clone. Who are you? Black Tiger was startled by the sudden appearance of the masked woman in white. He instinctively stood in front of the woman, protecting Ji Yufei's doppelganger behind him. Impudent! Why aren't you kneeling before Her Royal Highness? A black shadow appeared behind the white-clothed woman. What, Your Highness? The black tiger was shocked. When he saw the person walking out from behind the woman in white, he was so scared that his legs went soft and he knelt on the ground. Greetings, Your Highness. Greetings, General Longxiang. The black tiger's voice trembled because he was too nervous. Although he did not know the princess, he knew Longxiang Barbarian. He was the #1 general of Black Qilin City. Hu Feng was not even worthy of carrying Longxiang Barbarian's shoes. Since Longxiang Barbarian said that the white-clothed woman was the princess, then this woman must be the princess. What's your relationship with this kid? Shuer glanced at the black tiger and said. The black tiger was a veteran of the East Gate Barracks. Shuer could see through the black tiger at a glance. You mean Wang Zhon? He's the son of my good friend. The black tiger quickly said. I see. Get up and guard at the side. When this guy wakes up, tell him to come see me. Shuer immediately disappeared after she finished speaking. Longxiang Barbarian took a deep look at Ji Yufei's doppelganger and disappeared as well. After Shuer and Longxiang Barbarian left, the black tiger finally dared to raise his head and slowly stood up. He was extremely shocked. He actually saw the princess and even talked to her. This was something unimaginable to a bottom-level fighter like him. The black tiger was very excited. He did not expect Wang Zhon to have the princess as his backing. No wonder he dared to kill Tu Xiao. He had the confidence to kill Tu Xiao. With the princess as their backing, they really did not need to be afraid of the Tu family and the Tiger family. The Tu clan and the Tiger clan had great power in Black Qilin City, but outside of Black Qilin City, who would care about the Tu clan and the Tiger clan? The princess was the princess of the East Moon Empire. In the entire East Moon Empire, the East Moon Imperial family was the most powerful force. The entire East Moon Empire belonged to the East Moon Imperial family and was the territory of the East Moon Imperial Lord. Thinking of this, the Black Tiger became even more excited. They finally had the chance to make a meteoric rise. He carefully guarded the side of Jiu Fei's doppelganger. Although there were people passing by from time to time, no one dared to disturb them. At this time, the weak Hu Feng was carried back from the Tiger family's mansion in the west of the city. In a courtyard of the Tiger family's mansion, Hu Feng lay on a stretcher. His body was also covered in a layer of frost and emitted a cold aura. What exactly happened? The patriarch of the Tiger family, Hu Xiaoyu, stood on the steps and shouted angrily at the people in the courtyard. Patriarch, it was someone called Wang Zhon who injured General Hu Feng. A disciple of the Tiger family said hurriedly. Wang Zhon? You mean Wang Zhon? Hu Xiaoyu could not help but be stunned. Could it be that guy? He took a step and instantly appeared beside Hu Feng. He bent down and grabbed Hu Feng's right wrist. My vitality is injured and my vitality is in a mess. How did this happen? Hu Xiaoyu furrowed his brows. Hu Feng cultivated a yin cultivation technique, and his vital qi was very weak. Furthermore, he had lost control over it, which was why he had frozen himself. Then Wang Zhon, Hu Xiaoyu's eyes became fierce. He directly injected a strong wave of vitality into Hu Feng's body. In the next moment, the frost on Hu Feng's body disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. All right, take him away. Hu Xiaoyu stood with his hands behind his back. A powerful aura emanated from his body. Wang Zhon, what secrets do you have? Hu Xiaoyu raised his head and looked at the sky. His eyes became incomparably deep. At this time, in the main hall of the two families' mansion in the east of the city, there was a corpse lying on the ground. Wang Zhon killed Tu Xiao? An angry roar came from the main hall of the Tu family. Tu Xiao was dead. Although he was a bastard and a hedonistic son of a rich family, he was still a direct descendant of the Tu family. How to deal with Tu Xiao was the Tu family's matter. Wang Zhon killing Tu Xiao was a ruthless slap to the Tu family's face. He must pay the price for killing someone from my Tu family. I don't care who he is. Chapter 56-28. Jiu Fei's clone in the limitless realm, Wang Zhon, actually killed Tu Xiao. This directly alarmed the big shots in Black Qilin City. One had to know that although Tu Xiao was only a small figure, he was also a hedonistic son. No one was willing to mix around with him in the Tu family or the Hu family, because what this guy did was really despicable. However, although Tu Xiao was a super scoundrel, he was still a direct descendant of the Tu family. Furthermore, his sister was married to a big shot in the Hu family. Therefore, by killing Tu Xiao, Wang Zhon directly offended two great cultivation clans in Black Qilin City. He was only a small soldier. Offending two great cultivation clans in the city at the same time was simply courting death. However, after Jiu Fei's clone killed Tu Xiao, he actually almost crippled Hu Feng in front of everyone on the eastern street. This time, Wang Zhon had truly offended the Hu family. One had to know that Hu Feng wasn't Tu Xiao. Not only was he a direct descendant of the Hu family, he was also an Earth Stage battle general in the Black Qilin City's city guards. Hu Feng's position in the Hu family wasn't low either. After injuring Hu Feng, the Hu family naturally wouldn't let it go just like that. However, the Hu family's patriarch, Hu Xiaoyu, was very cautious. This was because the Hu family's spy reported that Wang Zhon actually had the princess's token. After fighting with Hu Feng, he actually directly entered the city lord's residence. What kind of place was the city lord's residence? Even the patriarch of the Tiger clan could not step into the city lord's mansion of Black Qilin City without the permission of the city lord. If Jiu Fei's clone didn't have Princess Dongyue's token, he wouldn't even have the right to enter the city lord's residence. This guy who killed Tu Xiao and almost crippled Hu Feng actually entered the city lord's residence. This wasn't good. As long as this guy stayed in the city lord's residence, neither the Tu family nor the Hu family could do anything to him. At this moment, the Tu family also received the news. What? Did you look carefully? That guy really entered the city lord's residence. In the residence of the Tu family in the east of the city, the Tu family's patriarch, Tu Tianlong, sat at the head of the table and stared at a black-clothed man kneeling in front of him. Patriarch, this subordinate indeed saw Wang Zhong enter the city lord's residence with my own eyes. The black-clothed man's tone was very certain. Big brother, my son cannot die in vain. A middle-aged man sitting beside the head of the Tu family, Tu Tianlong, said angrily to Tu Tianlong. He was Tu Xiao's biological father, Tu Tianhu. This Tu Xiao was the son of Tu Tianhu. The Black Qilin City's #1 underground force, the Sky Tiger Gang, actually had a bastard son. This was the so-called like father like son. The father and son did not have a good relationship. However, no matter how trashy, useless, scoundrel, or reckless Tu Xiao was, he was still Tu Tianhu's son. His son was killed by a small soldier. Tu Tianhu was sad, but he also wanted to avenge Tu Xiao. He did not feel that Tu Xiao deserved it at all. So what if I can't die in vain? Don't tell me you still dare to barge into the city lord's mansion. Tu Tianlong was depressed. Then what should we do? Tu Tianhu was an ambitious and ruthless person in Black Qilin City. Although his son had died, he only felt sad for a while and then became cold and arrogant again. Send someone to keep an eye on the city lord's mansion. Tu Tianlong thought for a while and said with a deep voice. Tu Tianhu did not say anything. He also knew that as long as Wang Zhong hid in the city lord's mansion, no one could do anything to him. The same went for the Hu family. They could only send spies to keep an eye on the city lord's mansion. Your Highness, is this little guy called Wang Zhong really worth offending the Hu family and Tu family? In the main hall of the city lord's mansion, Longxiang Man said to Dongyu Shuer, who was sitting on the throne. Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhong, was too good at tormenting others. He actually dared to kill Tu Xiao. In fact, Longxiang Man also knew about Tu Xiao. That guy was a good-for-nothing who did all sorts of bad things. Of course, with Longxiang Man's status, he did not care about such a small fry at all. It's been really boring recently. Why don't you have some fun? Dongyu Shuer smiled. At this time, there were hundreds of thousands of troops of the tyrannical Sky Empire outside Black Qilin City. They could attack the city at any time. The reinforcements of the East Moon Empire were also almost here. Once the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire arrived, it would be time for the decisive battle with the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Ba Fei of the tyrannical Sky Empire had been shot by Dongyu Shuer with the East Moon bow. Ba Fei did not leave because he was injured. He wanted to fight to the death with Dongyu Shuer. He wanted to break into Black Qilin City and capture her. Play. Longxiang Man was stunned. He never thought that Her Highness would still be in such a mood at this time. Of course, Princess Dongyu wanted Wang Zhong to be her personal bodyguard. It was definitely not that simple. Princess Dongyu was even more curious about Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhong. This Wang Zhong was just a small soldier. How did he suddenly become so powerful? Killing Tu Xiao and defeating Hu Wu was nothing. However, he almost crippled Hu Feng, which was shocking. After all, Hu Feng was an Earth-rank battle general. Princess Dongyu was even more curious about Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhong. At this time, Dongyu Shuer had already ordered people to bring Wang Zhong's mother and sister into the city lord's residence. On the surface, it was to protect them, but in reality, she wanted to use them as hostages. Both mother and sister were in Princess Dongyue's hands. How could Ji Yufei's clone escape from her grasp? Thinking of this, Dongyu Shuer was rather pleased. All right, go and watch in secret. Don't let anyone disturb that guy. Dongyu Shuer said to Longxiang Man. Yes, Your Highness. Longxiang Man bowed to Dongyu Shuer, then left. At this time, Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhong was sitting under a fire dragon tree near the city lord's residence's gate. He was drawing in fire elemental spiritual qi to refine the cold yin energy in his body. However, his body was still covered in a layer of frost. Ji Yufei's clone was definitely on the verge of a mental breakdown. He shouldn't have been greedy. He almost devoured all of Hu Feng's vitality. He seriously underestimated the cold yin energy he devoured from Hu Feng. This cold yin energy was really torturing him. All the blood in his body almost froze, and the vitality in his body could only slowly circulate. He didn't know when he would be able to refine this cold yin energy in his body. Of course, once Gu Fei's clone completely refined this cold yin energy in his body, his cultivation might be able to break through to earth rank. Cold. Black Tiger, who had been guarding Gu Fei's clone, rubbed his hands. The ground near Gu Fei's clone was already covered in a layer of frost. In the distance, people were pointing at Gu Fei's clone, who was sitting under the fire dragon tree. Many people were secretly staring at the figure under the tree. Outside the city lord's residence, there were spies from the Hu and Tu families everywhere. Chapter 56-29. The easternmost region of the infinite world was very large, so large that even the supreme existences of the infinite prime realm were unable to find out where the boundary of the easternmost region was. The limitless realm was like a huge, boundless world. The area occupied by humans and other life forms was only a very small part of it. Even in the easternmost region, there were many extremely ancient ruins and terrifying regions that even infinite primes did not dare to set foot in. In the incomparably vast easternmost region, the territories of the East Moon Empire and the tyrannical Heaven Tyrant Empire were as small as sesame seeds. They were completely unremarkable. Of course, this was in the context of the entire easternmost region. In reality, the territories of the East Moon Empire and the tyrannical Heaven Empire were still very large. Black Chilean City was an important city of the East Moon Empire. Regardless of the time, there would always be a large number of soldiers stationed in Black Chilean City, and there would also be powerful cultivators overseeing it. The city lord of Black Chilean City was a Heaven Realm expert. In the East Moon Empire, there were many Heaven Realm cultivators, and there were also God Realm cultivators. The Emperor of the East Moon Empire was a God Realm being. It was definitely not an easy task for the army of the Tyrant Sky Empire to breach Black Chilean City. Otherwise, the Tyrant Sky Empire would have destroyed the East Moon Empire long ago. At this time, the Black Chilean City was surging. Outside of Black Chilean City, in the military camp of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Commander Wu Liang was discussing with a group of generals how to attack the city. They couldn't wait any longer. Because the scouts reported that the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire were already not far from Black Chilean City. However, the reinforcements of the tyrannical Sky Empire were still far away from Black Chilean City. Once the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire arrived, they would be surrounded by the army of the East Moon Empire. If they retreated before the reinforcements from the East Moon Empire arrived, they would still be able to preserve their strength. If they did not retreat, then the only outcome would be complete annihilation. Commander-in-Chief, I think we should retreat. That's right, let's retreat. The army of the Dongyu Empire will reach Black Chilean City within 3 days. If we don't retreat, we'll be in deep trouble. All the generals wanted to retreat. The current situation was very disadvantageous to Wu Liang and the others. You bunch of cowards. At this moment, a figure barged in from outside. Swoosh. Everyone in the tent stood up abruptly and looked at that person. Your Highness. When everyone saw the appearance of the intruder, they were shocked. The person who dared to break into the commander's tent was the young lord of the tyrannical Sky Empire, B.A. Fei. Your Highness, why are you here? You're still injured, you should rest well. Wu Liang greeted B.A. Fei with a smile. Humph, this is just a small injury. What are you guys trying to do? Do you want to admit defeat and flee? B.A. Fei roared at Wu Liang. It wasn't easy for him to trap Dongyu Shui in Black Chilean City. This was a great opportunity to break into Black Chilean City and capture Dongyu Shui. Moreover, if they could take down Black Chilean City, it would be a huge contribution. Ba Fei was very ambitious. Your Highness, in the current situation, we have no choice but to retreat. Wu Liang said helplessly. Then let's take down Black Chilean City before their reinforcements arrive. B.A. Fei roared. I'm not a coward. If you don't want to fight, then run. I can't afford to lose face like this. B.A. Fei continued. All the generals in the tent felt very awkward when they heard this. They didn't want to flee without a fight, but the current situation wasn't something they could control. Your Highness, do you want to fight? Wu Liang stared at Ba Fei with a solemn expression. Of course. Ba Fei was speechless. Fine, then let's fight. Wu Liang gritted his teeth and roared. Ha ha, good, very good. Ba Fei laughed. Soon, the army of the tyrannical Sky dynasty outside Black Qilin City began to move. Countless soldiers were on standby, war horses neighed, and murderous intent filled the air. The commotion in the camp of the tyrannical Sky dynasty's army immediately attracted the attention of the guards in the city. Oh no, they're going to attack the city. Longxiang Man stared at the camp of the tyrannical Sky dynasty on the city wall with a solemn expression. On the street inside the East City Gate, a tall figure suddenly appeared. The person charged straight at the tightly shut city gate. Courting death. The soldiers guarding the city gate immediately charged at the person. Scram. The person waved his right hand, and countless lightning bolts rushed out of his hand, directly blasting the soldiers who were attacking him into clouds of blood mist. Seeing that the person was unstoppable and was about to break the city gate, a figure descended from the sky and landed directly in front of the person. General Lei of the tyrannical Sky dynasty's Wu Liang. Longxiang Man recognized this guy's origin at a glance. He was extremely shocked. How did this guy sneak into Black Qilin City? Roar. General Lei roared to the sky, and a powerful force of thunder and lightning erupted from his body. Every strand of his hair seemed to be surrounded by lightning, and every inch of his skin was flowing with electricity. He was like a demon overlooking the common people. A majestic wave of primordial qi erupted from his body like a monstrous wave sweeping across the sky and the earth, and the wind and clouds changed color. Good. Longxiang Man sensed the opponent's strength, and the battle blood in his body began to boil. A phantom of a dragon and an elephant emerged from his body and roared at General Lei. Thunderclap, ninth heaven. General Lei roared and attacked with all his strength. Countless lightning bolts rushed out of his hands and bombarded the opposite Longxiang Man. Each lightning bolt revealed a heart-palpitating aura of destruction. Humph! Longxiang Man sneered, and then punched out. A phantom of a dragon and elephant rushed out of his fist, and in an instant, countless lightning bolts were dispersed. After his fist force dispersed the lightning bolts, it directly bombarded General Lei. General Lei was shocked. He immediately formed a seal with his hands, and a light shield formed by interweaving lightning appeared in front of him. Boom! With a loud bang, the Longxiang Man's dragon and elephant fist force instantly collided with the lightning shield, and a loud sound erupted. The lightning shield in front of General Lei burst out with a dazzling electric light, and the strong light was dazzling and painful. The lightning shield in front of the Thunder General dissipated at the same time as the dragon-elephant phantasm. The Thunder General, on the other hand, felt as if he had been hit by a huge mountain. His body shook violently and he took a few steps back. The incomparably hard bluestone under Lei Jiang's feet was broken by him, and deep footprints were left on the ground. Swish! The Longxiang Man moved, and in an instant, he was in front of General Lei. General Lei was shocked and wanted to attack, but the Longxiang Man didn't give him a chance. He had already heavily punched Lei Jiang in the chest. At the same time, the sound of bones breaking was heard, and Lei Jiang was sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth, and he smashed into the ground. He slid on the ground for dozens of feet before coming to a stop. You want to destroy the city gate? Chapter 5630. Wu Liang of the tyrannical Sky Empire had many capable people under his command. Otherwise, he would not have been able to lead the general of the tyrannical Sky Empire to defeat the army of the East Moon Empire and surround Black Qilin City. Black Qilin City was a gateway into the heart of the East Moon Empire. To the East Moon Empire, the importance of Black Qilin City was unquestionable. If the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire could take Black Qilin City, they could march straight into the heart of the East Moon Empire and conquer the city. Even if they could not destroy the East Moon Empire in one fell swoop, they could definitely make the empire suffer heavy casualties and lose a large piece of territory. As a result, the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire rushed to Black Qilin City. The vanguard was about to reach the city, and the main force was still behind. Tens of thousands of soldiers of the East Moon Empire flew across the sky like a dark cloud. A terrifying murderous aura spread in the sky and on the ground. Everywhere they passed, countless living beings panicked. "We're finally here. Bastards of the tyrannical Sky Empire, it's time for you to die." She stood on a large golden eagle, dressed in silver battle armor and silver battle boots. Her cloak fluttered behind her like flames. This was a young and beautiful female general with a heroic face. She wasn't inferior to a man in any way. At this time, outside Bustling City, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire attacked the city gate in a frenzy. Battle cries shook the heavens and the earth. The soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire were everywhere outside the city, and the end could not be seen. On top of the city wall, the soldiers who saw this scene were so scared that their legs trembled and their faces paled. Even the guards at the city gate were extremely nervous. Woo! The sound of the horn resounded throughout the city. In Bustling City, the barracks at the 4 city gates were already in an uproar. Countless soldiers tidied up their armor and weapons in an orderly manner and gathered in the square inside the barracks. Then, under the leadership of the generals, they rushed out of the barracks and attacked the city gate. The main direction of the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire was the East Gate. Although the South and North gates were also attacked, it was only a feint. The West Gate was behind Bustling City, so the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire could not attack the West Gate at all. Therefore, the troops stationed at the West Gate directly went to the East Gate. Countless citizens in Bustling City were terrified. Buzz! The void shook, and Bustling City's Great City Defense Formation was activated at once. A ball of divine light was like an inverted bowl, covering the entire city. Dust billowed outside the city as countless soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire charged towards the East Gate. Bam! The first soldier from the tyrannical Sky Empire slammed into the light barrier outside the city gate. He screamed in pain and was sent flying back, crashing into a dozen soldiers behind him. In the next moment, the sound of collisions rang out, and the Sky Tyrant soldiers that hit the light shield of Bustling City were all sent flying. The guards on top of Bustling City heaved a sigh of relief when they saw this. However, at this moment, an arrow light shot out from the formation of the Sky Tyrant army and landed directly on the defensive formation of Bustling City. Boom! With a loud bang, the arrow light that hit Bustling City's light shield instantly exploded. The explosive power actually blasted a big hole in the light shield. Attack! The soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire immediately rushed in through the big hole in the light barrier of Bustling City like a tide. Fire! The general on top of the city wall roared angrily. The soldiers of the East Moon Empire were already prepared. Now that the general gave the order, arrows immediately rained down from the top of the city wall, turning the Sky Tyrant soldiers that charged in from outside the light shield into porcupines. However, at this moment, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire continuously shot out powerful arrows. Those arrows actually directly blasted holes in the light shield of Bustling City. The soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire directly killed their way in through the holes in the light shield. However, what welcomed these Sky Tyrant soldiers was a rain of arrows from the top of Bustling City. In an instant, groups of Sky Tyrant soldiers fell in the city's Great City Defense Formation. The smell of blood permeated the air. This was war. It was cruel to the extreme. It was either you die or I die. It would not stop until one side was completely conquered. Very soon, the Sky Tyrant soldiers used the shield formation. They raised their heavy shields and pushed toward the city gate under the rain of arrows. Just as Wu Liang was commanding the army to attack the city, Ji Yufei's clone had reached a critical juncture in refining the cold qi in his body. Of course, he was in the city lord's residence, so the battle did not affect him. Dongyu Shui was still in the city lord's residence. She did not personally command Dongyue's army to resist the attack of the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire. At the same time, the people of the tyrannical Sky Empire who were hiding in Bustling City began to destroy everywhere in the city. Even the Thunder General under Wu Liang's command had sneaked into Bustling City and suddenly exploded at the East Gate. He wanted to break through the gate and cooperate with the army outside the city to attack Bustling City. Unfortunately, the Dragon Elephant Man happened to be patrolling at the East Gate. As a result, the Thunder General was unlucky. The Dragon Elephant Man sent the Thunder General flying with a punch and strode toward the Thunder General. "Thunder General, I respect you as a man. Why don't you surrender to me?" The Dragon Elephant Man looked at the Thunder General, who was slowly standing up from the ground, and could not help but admire his talent. This Thunder General was not simple. His thunder mystical skill was also impressive. If the Dragon Elephant Man did not happen to be at the East Gate, no one at the East Gate would be able to stop this guy. If this guy broke through the East Gate, the consequences would be dire. Fart. The Thunder General spat out a mouthful of blood and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He stared at the Dragon Elephant Man opposite him with a strong battle intent. However, the Dragon Elephant Man punched him in the chest. The soft armor under his clothes was broken and his sternum was broken. He was seriously injured. However, he still held on and wanted to continue fighting with the Dragon Elephant Man. "Sigh. In that case, I'll send you on your way." The Dragon Elephant Man shook his head and sighed. Thunderclap, Ninth Heaven. The Thunder General once again performed his strongest trump card. Rumble. 9 balls of lightning rushed out from his body and a terrifying aura of destruction broke out from these balls of lightning. Countless dazzling electric lights appeared in the void like silver snakes. This time, the Thunder General gave it his all. The 9 balls of lightning, like the tribulation lightning of the Ninth Heaven, bombarded the Dragon Elephant Man. The void seemed to be torn apart by the dazzling electric lights. "You overestimate yourself." The Dragon Elephant Man's mighty body shook and the shadow of the Dragon Elephant immediately emerged from his body. At this time, it was not 1 dragon and 1 elephant, but 3 dragons and 3 elephants. Chapter 56-31. Outside Black Chilean City, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire could not help but attack the city. Under the command of Wu Liang, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire launched a fierce attack on Black Chilean City. To the surprise of the defenders of Black Chilean City, there was a powerful array master among the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire. The mysterious array master was the trump card of the young emperor of the tyrannical Sky Empire. He had saved this trump card for last. Sure enough, the mysterious array master broke through the light shield of the Black Chilean City's protective formation with his arrows, allowing the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire to charge into the light shield. "Young lord, you're really something." Wu Liang gave Ba Fei a thumbs up in the sky above the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire. "Great Array Master Lin is really powerful," Ba Fei said proudly as he looked at the figure sitting cross-legged in the void not far away, surrounded by countless formation runes. Great Array Master Lin was an expert in Array Dao that he had spent a lot of money to invite. He was the successor of the mystical Sky sect of the Limitless Realm. His Array Dao was not weak. Otherwise, the successor of the mystical Sky sect would not have been able to break through the light shield of the Black Chilean City's Array Dao and let the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire in. "You're right, young lord. But Master Lin is a little mysterious." Wu Liang laughed. Rays of light shot up into the sky from Master Lin's array and landed on Black Chilean City. Every arrow broke a big hole in the light shield of Black Chilean City. "Heavenly Army, attack!" Wu Liang roared. His voice was heard by every soldier of the tyrannical Sky Empire. This was the power and terror of a peak heaven rank expert. Ba Fei frowned. Wu Liang's cultivation was not to be underestimated. He was also in the heaven rank, but he was only in the initial stage. With Wu Liang's cultivation, he did not care about the young lord at all. However, he did not dare to slight Ba Fei because of his status. Ba Fei was the most beloved little brother of the tyrannical Sky Emperor. There were many kings in the tyrannical Sky dynasty, but only Ba Fei could have his own private army. The other kings didn't have this privilege. At Wu Liang's command, countless figures rushed out from the Sky Tyrant Army's formation. These soldiers rode on black demon eagles and soared into the sky. In the next moment, under the leadership of the Black Fiend General, the Black Fiend Heavenly Army pounced towards Black Chilean City like a dark cloud. However, the guards of Black Chilean City were not to be trifled with. Countless arrows were shot out from the city. The arrows hit the Black Demon Condor in the sky above Black Chilean City and bounced off. The feathers on the black demon condor's body were extremely hard, and not even sharp arrows could pierce through them. At the same time, black shadows swooped down from the sky and charged into the city. Brothers, attack Black Chilean City and capture Dong Yu and Shue'er alive. Charge! The Black Demon General roared and jumped down from the Black Demon Condor King. Like a meteor, it landed on the east street of Black Chilean City. At this moment, Lei Jiang was fighting the Dragon Elephant Barbarian. The Black Demon General was dumbfounded when he saw Lei Jiang and the Dragon Elephant Barbarian fighting. He thought to himself, my luck is too bad to meet the Dragon Elephant Barbarian as soon as I arrived. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian was the #1 warrior in Black Chilean City. Whoever met him was unlucky. Even Lei Jiang was almost beaten to a pulp by him. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian was extremely powerful. He broke Lei Jiang's trump card in one move and sent him flying with a punch. This time, Lei Jiang fell to the ground with a punch from the Dragon Elephant Barbarian. He vomited blood and could not even stand up. He had completely lost his ability to fight. Shit! The Black Demon General was shocked. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian really lived up to his name. Swoosh! When the Black Demon General saw the Dragon Elephant Barbarian looking at him, he immediately turned around and fled. What a joke! This guy was the #1 warrior in Black Chilean City. Hey, weren't you very cool just now? Attack Black Chilean City and capture Dong Yu and Shue'er alive. You're awesome, why did you run? The Dragon Elephant Barbarian's voice came from behind the Black Demon General. The Black Demon General did not dare to answer and fled even faster. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian was about to give chase. Dragon Elephant Barbarian, he's mine. At this moment, a warrior appeared on the opposite street. The warrior held a halberd and blocked the Black Demon General's path. Very well, Tu Tianhu, this guy is yours. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian ignored the Black Demon General and directly soared into the sky, landing on the city wall. He raised his head and looked at the arrows falling from the sky. He could not help but frown. Those were formation-breaking arrows. Obviously, there were array masters in the enemy's camp. To be able to break the light shield formed by the power of Black Chilean City's city defense formation, these formation-breaking arrows were no ordinary arrows. At this moment, Tu Tianhu and the Black Demon General were fighting on the street. The Black Demon army of the tyrannical Sky Empire charged into Black Chilean City, but these Black Demon army had to face the Black Chilean City garrison that was more than 10 times their number. Soon, the Black Demon army was surrounded by the city's army. The Black Demon army of the tyrannical Sky Empire was about to be completely annihilated. However, at this critical moment, several powerful tyrannical Sky generals directly charged into Black Chilean City from the sky. Although there were only a few Black Demon generals, their battle prowess was extremely great. As soon as these fellows charged into the city, they killed many soldiers guarding the city. The experts in the city had no choice but to take action. Even now, the little princess of the East Moon Empire still had not shown herself. The army of Black Chilean City moved, methodically killing the Black Demon army that had charged into the city. The situation had not yet gone out of control. The tyrannical Sky Empire's army could not break into the city for a while, so the two sides engaged in an extremely brutal battle. The smell of blood that permeated the air was nauseating. At this moment, Jiyu Fei's God King clone was still refining the cold energy in its body under the fire dragon tree near the City Lord's residence. There were no array masters in Black Chilean City, so no one could completely activate the entire city defense formation. As a result, the East Moon Empire's garrison was very passive. More and more experts of the tyrannical Sky Empire charged into the city through the gap in the light barrier. Everyone wanted to break open the east gate so that the army outside the city could charge in. However, the garrison of Black Chilean City was extremely tenacious, fighting desperately against the soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Corpses piled up like a mountain below the city walls. Most of these corpses were left behind by the soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Whoosh! An arrow suddenly descended from the sky and landed less than a meter away from Jiyu Fei's clone at the east gate of the City Lord's residence, stabbing into the ground. Boom! Chapter 5632. Outside Black Chilean City, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire was attacking in a frenzy. Battle cries shook the heavens and the earth. Whether it was the defenders of Black Chilean City or the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire, countless people were bloodshot. Wu Liang and Ba Fei both knew that this was their last chance to take down Black Chilean City because the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire were about to arrive. If they did not take down Black Chilean City before the reinforcements arrived, they would be surrounded by the army of the East Moon Empire and be completely annihilated. Therefore, Wu Liang, the commander of the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire, did not hold back. He sent out the entire army. However, to Wu Liang's surprise, the hedonistic Prince Ba Fei was not completely useless. He actually invited a formation master from the mystical heaven sect. Black Chilean City was an important city of the East Moon Empire. This city had a protective formation. Once the formation was activated, the entire city would become an impenetrable fortress. The reason why the city was so difficult to take down was because of the protective formation. But now, the hedonistic Prince Ba Fei actually did not hesitate to invite a formation master from the mystical heaven sect to break the formation. He had really invested a lot this time. After all, it was not so easy to invite a formation master from the mystical heaven sect. This time, Master Lin was willing to help, so Ba Fei must have paid a great price. At this moment, a huge formation loomed in the sky above the tyrannical Sky Empire's army. Countless formation patterns interweaved in the void, and rays of light condensed from the formation. A figure sat cross-legged in the center of the formation. All the spiritual qi in the world was attracted by the formation. Endless spiritual qi gathered toward the formation from all directions. The weather changed in the area where Black Chilean City was, and the sun and moon dimmed. In addition, countless soldiers from the East Moon Empire and the tyrannical Sky Empire were fighting fiercely. The smell of blood filled the air. This was practically hell on earth. That's, high up in the sky dozens of kilometers away, a valiant female general standing on a huge golden condor could not help but be shocked when she saw the strange phenomenon in the sky before her. At the location of Black Chilean City, the dark clouds were vast and mighty. Dazzling bolts of lightning constantly appeared in the dark clouds. Even though it was tens of miles away, one could still feel a terrifying aura that made one's heart palpitate. Prepare for battle. Kill your way over. The female general waved her arm and shouted. Then, she stepped on the golden condor and rushed towards the direction of Black Chilean City. Kill. The countless heavenly soldiers of the East Moon Empire behind her roared at the same time. They drew their weapons and charged forward on their condors. A terrifying aura of slaughter swept through the surroundings. The vanguard of the East Moon Empire had arrived. However, the ground army of the East Moon Empire was still over 100 kilometers away from Black Chilean City. It was impossible for them to reach Black Chilean City in a short time. However, the heavenly army of the East Moon Empire would soon reach Black Chilean City. Even if the tens of thousands of Eastern Moon heavenly army joined the battle, they would not be able to gain any advantage over the tyrant army. Just as the battle was in a stalemate, an arrow light landed near the east gate of the City Lord Mansion, right in front of the fire dragon tree where Ji Yufei's clone was sitting. Boom! With a loud bang, the arrow light exploded and turned into a destructive force that enveloped Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The violent power was wreaking havoc. Nephew Wang Zhon, when Black Tiger saw this, he was shocked, furious, and sorrowful. They had already hidden themselves in the City Lord's mansion, yet Wang Zhon still had to collect his lunchbox. However, when the smoke dissipated, a figure appeared under the fire dragon tree. Nephew Wang Zhon? Black Tiger was surprised and overjoyed when he saw the figure under the tree. When the smoke and dust dissipated, Ji Yufei's clone was still sitting under the fire dragon tree. However, he was now completely charred and cut a sorry figure. Phew! Ji Yufei's clone exhaled a breath of black air. It had been really dangerous earlier. The arrow light had first broken through the barrier of the Great Protective Formation, so its power had naturally been greatly reduced. Otherwise, he would have died from that attack. His body shook, and in the next moment, a powerful wave of energy immediately erupted from his body. This, Black Tiger was taken aback. The aura that erupted from Ji Yufei's clone was so oppressive that he almost couldn't breathe. Earth rank. Black Tiger was indescribably shocked. How long had it been? This young man had actually broken through to the Earth rank. In Black Tiger's eyes, Wang Zhon was merely a soldier from Black Qilin City who was trying his best to survive. As a soldier, he did not know what would happen tomorrow. Especially now, a war had erupted between the East Moon Empire and the tyrannical empire. Soldiers like them seemed to have long been destined to die on the battlefield. Wang Zhon's father had died on the battlefield. As his nephew, Black Tiger knew everything about Wang Zhon. No one knew Wang Zhon's capabilities better than he did. Ever since he returned from the battlefield, Wang Zhon seemed to have changed into a different person. His temperament changed greatly, and his cultivation continued to soar. What the hell was going on? Black Tiger was truly curious. Furthermore, this nephew of his seemed to be working for Princess Dongyu. How did Wang Zhon get to know the princess? Earth rank initial stage. Not bad. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. A figure appeared under the fire dragon tree without any warning. Greetings, Your Highness. Black Tiger knelt on the ground in fright when he saw the person. Naturally, Dongyu Shuer did not take Black Tiger seriously. She only had eyes for the person sitting under the fire dragon tree. Your cultivation barely qualifies to be my guard, Dongyu Shuer continued. Dongyu Shuer continued. With her heaven rank cultivation, she could naturally see through Ji Yufei's clone with a single glance. Moreover, Ji Yufei's clone did not intentionally hide his cultivation. Only barely qualifies. Ji Yufei's avatar slowly stood up from the ground. He had finally refined the cold yuan qi that he had devoured from Hufeng. Just now, he had been blasted by the arrow light that had descended from the sky, and he had casually devoured the energy that had erupted from the arrow light. Now, it could be said that he had profited from a disaster. After devouring the energy from the arrow of light, his cultivation level had completely stabilized. Her Highness has already overestimated you by saying that you qualify. At this moment, a figure walked over from afar. It was a woman wearing battle armor and holding a spear. She had a red headband and a slender figure. She looked heroic, but not ugly. One look and it was obvious that she could fight. Earth rank peak. Half-step heaven realm. When Ji Yufei's doppelganger saw this woman, his pupils involuntarily shrank. She's my guard captain. Dongyu Shuer said. Is she very strong? Ji Yufei's clone said indifferently. Why don't we fight? Chapter 56-33. The princess of the East Moon Empire, Dongyu Shuer, was accompanied by a team of female guards. Yang Feiyun was the captain of the team. Yang Feiyun was no weaker than men. Although she was a woman, her cultivation and battle prowess were much stronger than men of the same level. Of course, no matter how heaven-defying she was, she could not be as heaven-defying as Ji Yufei's clone, who could challenge cultivators of a higher level. At this moment, Yang Feiyun had already arrived before Ji Yufei's clone with her spear in hand. She was brimming with battle intent, and her gaze was like lightning. She could attack Ji Yufei's clone at any time. What, you don't dare to fight me? Yang Feiyun stared at Ji Yufei's clone, and a powerful aura burst from her body. Are you crazy? Why should I fight you? Ji Yufei's clone refused right away. This captain's cultivation was far above his. Fight her. He was not that stupid. Of course, Ji Yufei's clone was not afraid of this captain. Even if she was half a step into the heavenly realm, he was not afraid. His 9 secrets of immortal path was not to be trifled with. So you're a coward. Yang Feiyun said disdainfully. Come on, goading is so common. Can't you come up with something new? Ji Yufei's clone shook his head helplessly. I don't care if you fight me or not. If you don't fight me, I'll fight you. Yang Feiyun raised her spear as she spoke. The spear in her hand immediately turned into a blur, stabbing towards Ji Yufei's clone's chest at an extremely fast speed. Ji Yufei's clone was truly speechless. Who was this girl? She actually wanted to force me to fight her. Princess Dongyu watched from the side without saying anything. She seemed to be enjoying the show. The black tiger was still lying on the ground. Princess Dongyu did not tell him to stand up, so he kept lying there, not daring to move or speak. Ji Yufei's doppelganger used the 8 desolation steps and dodged Yang Feiyun's spear with ease. Then, he threw a punch at Yang Feiyun. The punch he threw seemed very casual, and there was no powerful fist energy wave that erupted from his fist. However, it was this punch that shocked Yang Feiyun. Bam! Yang Feiyun's right palm moved forward, and the fist and palm instantly collided. Ji Yufei's doppelganger felt as if he had been hit by a huge mountain. His entire body was lifted off the ground, and he floated a few dozen feet away. Half-step heaven realm is indeed powerful. Ji Yufei's doppelganger calmly looked at the woman in front of him. There was still a huge difference between him and the people who were half a step into heaven realm. After exchanging a blow with Yang Feiyun, Ji Yufei's avatar's entire right arm was numb from the shock. Moreover, he knew that this was not the true power of this guard captain. If Yang Feiyun had used her full strength, Ji Yufei's avatar would definitely be injured. Stop! Seeing that the female guard captain was about to attack him again, Ji Yufei's avatar hurriedly shouted for her to stop. He did not want to be beaten up for no reason. You think I'll stop just because you say so? Yang Feiyun continued to press towards Ji Yufei's avatar. At this moment, rays of light broke through the light barrier of Black Chelin City and landed in the city. The entire city was in chaos, and the arrows destroyed many houses. Even the ordinary citizens hiding in their houses were no longer safe. Meanwhile, the defending army of Black Chelin City was engaged in an intense battle with the Sky Tyrant army. The casualties on both sides kept increasing. The Sky Tyrant army refused to retreat and swore to take down Black Chelin City. Dongyu Shuai did not expect the Sky Tyrant dynasty to hire a formation master. Only a formation master could break through the light barrier of Black Chelin City. Moreover, this was not something an ordinary formation master could do. The formation master who helped the Sky Tyrant army was most likely a heaven formation master. To Dongyu Shuai, this was definitely not a good thing. Because the formation of Black Chelin City could only passively defend. Without a formation master controlling it, it would be great if it could even unleash 1/10 of its power. Black Chelin City originally had a professional formation master controlling the formation. However, before the war broke out, the array master who was in charge of the Black Chelin City's protective formation was assassinated. Everyone could guess that it was done by the tyrannical Sky Empire. Because only they could benefit from killing the formation master of Black Chelin City. Reality proved that killing the formation master of Black Chelin City was a brilliant move. Now, the formation master from the mystical heaven sect that Defy hired had successfully broken through the light barrier of Black Chelin City. The Sky Tyrant dynasty's army had already entered Black Chelin City under the leadership of the Black Fiend General. Meanwhile, the main force of the Sky Tyrant army was also attacking the East City Gate. Once the city gate was breached by the Sky Tyrant army, the owner of Black Chelin City would change. Alright, that's enough. Instead of wasting your energy here, you might as well go kill the enemies. Dongyu Shuai finally spoke, because among everyone present, she was the only one who could order Yang Feiyun around. Yes, Your Highness. Yang Feiyun sheathed his spear. Haha. Dongyu Shuai, I'm going to capture you alive today and make you my feet-washing maid. At this moment, an arrogant laugh came from the sky. Ji Yufei's clone raised his head abruptly and saw more than a dozen powerful figures rushing down from the sky, charging towards them. Ba-Fei? Dongyu Shuai immediately stared at the young man wearing a golden crown. With a flip of her left hand, a godly bow appeared in her hand. East Moon Bow. Ba-Fei, the young lord of Sky Tyrant dynasty, who had descended menacingly with a group of experts, was shocked when he saw the godly bow in Dongyu Shuai's hand. After all, he was injured by Dongyu Shuai's East Moon Bow earlier. If it wasn't for the medical experts treating him, he would still be bedridden. Ba-Fei, looks like you really don't want to live anymore. Dongyu Shuai soared into the sky and arrived before Ba-Fei. Leave her to me. You guys go break the formation. Ba-Fei stared coldly at Dongyu Shuai. Yes, Your Highness. The generals behind Ba Fei immediately accepted the order and charged towards the east, south, and north gates of Black Chelin City. As long as the 3 gates were broken, Black Chelin City would be done for. This time, Ba Fei had brought all of his experts, hoping to win the battle and leave his name in the annals of history. Uncle Mystic, let's go. When Jiyu Fei Yun's clone saw this, he immediately rushed to the mystic black tiger who was still lying on the ground. He grabbed the tiger and dashed towards a secret place in the city lord's mansion. Wang Zhon, you're running away? Young Fei Yun was furious when he saw Jiyu Fei Yun's clone escaping into the city lord's mansion. Chapter 56-34. When the battle erupted, the young lord of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Ba Fei, led his subordinates and charged straight into Turtle Chelin City, intending to capture Dongyu Shuai alive. However, Dongyu Shuai was the princess of the East Moon Empire after all, and the most beloved princess of the East Moon Imperial Lord. She also possessed the East Moon Bow. How could it be easy for the young lord to capture Dongyu Shuai alive? As soon as he saw Dongyu Shuai's right hand on the bowstring, he was so frightened that he immediately took out a shield and placed it in front of him. A powerful wave of energy spread out from the shield in his hand and enveloped him. The sky-dominating shield. Dongyu Shuai was shocked when she saw the shield in front of Ba Fei. The seemingly inconspicuous shield was definitely not simple. It was a great treasure of the tyrannical Sky Empire, the sky-dominating shield. This was a powerful Taoist treasure. The East Moon Bow was mainly used for attack, while the sky-dominating shield was used for defense. This combination of attack and defense was simply amazing. In the end, whether the East Moon Bow could pierce through the sky-dominating shield was still unknown. Even Dongyu Shuai was uncertain. Ba Fei was also nervous. He did not know if the sky-dominating shield in his hand could block an arrow from the East Moon Bow. If he couldn't stop them, then not only would he not be able to break through Yulin City, he might even lose his life here. Neither of them dared to act recklessly. Both of them stared at each other. Just as Dongyu Shuai and Ba Fei were facing off in the sky, Yang Yunfei was fighting the general who had charged down from the sky. Although Yang Yunfei was a woman, she was extremely ferocious when she wielded the spear in her hand. Her strength was astonishing as well. Clang! She swept her spear horizontally and directly smashed it against the general's saber, causing sparks to fly everywhere. The general was sent flying over a dozen meters away by Yang Yunfei's spear. Even the hand holding the saber was trembling. He lowered his head and saw that there was a thumb-sized nick on the blade of his saber. This, Ling Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. His battle blade was a middle-grade Dao artifact among the earth-ranked ones, but the blade was actually chipped by the opponent's battle spear. Could it be that the spear in his hand is actually a high-grade earth-tier Dao artifact? The Dao tools of the limitless realm could be divided into low-grade, mid-grade, and high-grade. Above high-grade was the supreme grade. Normally, cultivators would use low-grade or mid-grade Dao tools. Very few people would use high-grade Dao tools. As for the supreme grade Dao tools, very few people would use them. To be more precise, very few people would use them. You are Yang Fei Yun? Ling Feng stared at the heroic female general with a spear in her hand. Kill. Yang Fei Yun didn't bother to talk nonsense with this guy. He directly raised the spear in his hand and attacked Ling Feng. His murderous aura was shocking. Damn it. Knowing that his opponent was Yang Fei Yun, Ling Feng did not dare to fight with him anymore. He turned around and ran. What a joke. Yang Fei Yun was Dongyu Shuai's guard captain. His cultivation was at least at the peak of Earth Realm. Although Ling Feng asked himself that his cultivation was not bad, compared to Yang Fei Yun, it was still not enough. If he didn't escape, should he stay and die? Fighting with his opponent despite knowing that he was no match for him was definitely an extremely stupid move. Ling Feng was not a fool, so he could only admit defeat. At the same time, Dongyu Shuai and Ba Fei were still facing off in the sky. Jiyu Fei's clone, who had already entered the city lord's mansion with the black tiger, looked up at the two figures in the sky and could not help but shake his head. A fight between experts always seemed to be the same. Jiyu Fei's clone withdrew his gaze and brought the black tiger to an inconspicuous house. He directly punched open the wooden door and was about to walk in. Whoosh! 2 rays of cold light shot out from behind the door without any warning at an extremely fast speed. What? Jiu Fei's doppelganger was taken aback. He hurriedly stretched out his hands and caught the 2 beams of cold light in his hands. The black tiger was shocked by this scene. He stared blankly at the short arrow that was less than an inch away from his nose. The arrowhead almost touched his nose. A drop of cold sweat trickled down Black Tiger's forehead. If Jiu Fei's doppelganger had been just a little slower, he would have been shot in the face by the short arrow and died. In that instant, he had taken a trip to the gates of hell. There's a trap. Jiu Fei's clone threw away the 2 short arrows in his hands. In the next moment, a wave of will spread from his body. With the help of his spiritual force, everything in the small house appeared in his mind. There was another world inside the house. Jiu Fei's clone was about to walk in. At that moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked Jiu Fei's clone. The entrance to the small house was a door. The person who suddenly appeared directly blocked the small door. "Little guy, this is not a place you can come. Get out of here." The middle-aged man in front of the door glared at Jiu Fei's clone impatiently. Jiu Fei's clone did not waste any time. He tore off a token from his waist and threw it in front of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man stared blankly at the medallion that was almost smashed into his face. His expression was as uncomfortable as if he had just swallowed 100 flies. "Why aren't you moving to the side?" Jiu Fei's clone retracted the token and said coldly. The middle-aged man's expression changed. He hesitated for a moment but still retreated to the side obediently. He felt extremely depressed. Why did the princess send a little guy who was still wet behind the ears to take over this place? Jiu Fei's doppelganger no longer paid attention to this fellow and directly brought the black tiger into the house. The moment he stepped into the house, Jiu Fei's clone saw a bright light in front of him. A huge space appeared in front of him. In this space, there were interweaving array inscriptions. These array inscriptions looked extremely complicated. Even the void was filled with array inscriptions. This was the array center of the entire Yulin city. Here, all the array formations of Yulin city could be controlled. However, there was no one controlling it. Jiu Fei's clone had come here to control the entire array formation of Yulin city. "Guys from the tyrannical Sky Empire, you're out of luck." Jiu Fei's clone stared at the core of the formation in front of him with a cold smile on his face. As long as he controlled this array center, he would be able to control all the array formations of Yulin city. The power of the array formations of Yulin city would definitely increase by several times or even more than 10 times. Chapter 56-35. No one would have thought that the core of the formations was actually hidden in an inconspicuous little hut at the back of the city lord's estate. The scouts of the tyrannical Sky Empire could not find where the core of the formations was either. Otherwise, the experts of the Empire would have attacked this place as soon as possible. This was because once the core of the formation was breached, they would be able to destroy the entire formation. At that time, the entire Yulin city would become a defenseless city. That way, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire would be able to easily breach the city and open the gates of the East Moon Empire. The army would then be able to march straight in and kill their way into the heart of the Empire. The reason why Jiu Fei's clone knew where the core of the formations was because his cultivation in formations was rather high. In reality, he could tell where the source of the formations was with a single glance, but the formation master of the Wondrous Heaven sect that the young lord of the tyrannical Sky Empire had invited failed to do so. This was the difference. At this moment, the sounds of battle shook the heavens both inside and outside of the city. Outside the city, Wu Liang was commanding the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire to attack the city, while inside, the young lord of the tyrannical Sky Empire was leading a group of experts against the experts of the 3 great clans. The experts of the Hu family, the Tu family, and the Longxiong family had all been mobilized, because everyone in the city had reached a critical juncture of life and death. If they did not fight with their lives on the line, there would only be one outcome: the annihilation of their clans. The city lord of Dragon Chilin City, Dongyu Tianxia, was an extremely domineering expert. At this moment, He was clad in battle armor and wielding a blade, standing on top of the city's eastern gate, staring coldly at a general in the sky. The general in the sky was also looking down at Dongyu Tianxia on top of the city walls. This general was the commander of the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Wu Liang. The two experts faced off in the sky, actually ignoring the countless soldiers fighting for their lives in front of the city gates. It was as if they only had eyes for each other. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone was standing in the air inside the small hut, closely examining the countless formation inscriptions that constantly wove together. In the eyes of those who didn't understand array formations, these runes were naturally mysterious and unfathomable. However, in the eyes of the ancient clone, these runes were actually low-level runes. What happened? Ji Yufei's doppelganger was somewhat dumbfounded. This was the limitless realm. Amongst all the great worlds, the limitless realm was the apex superworld. Moreover, the cultivation system of the limitless realm should have been developed to the pinnacle. But why was the Yulin city's array formation still at the elementary level? This shouldn't be the case. Ji Yufei's clone really could not understand why something like this would happen. After all, Bailin City's importance to the East Moon Empire was beyond doubt. It was such an important city, but the city-protecting array was actually a basic array formation. When Ji Yufei's clone saw this, he couldn't help but shake his head. Could it be that the Limitless Realms array Dao was actually very backward? The various cultivation systems of the Limitless Realm should have been developed to the pinnacle. When the middle-aged man saw Ji Yufei's clone staring blankly at the countless runes in front of him, he could not help but sneer. He said with some mockery, "The array formation here is not something you can imagine. I think you'd better leave." Me. Ji Yufei's clone did not say anything. Instead, he directly strode forward. "What are you trying to do? Are you tired of living?" The middle-aged man could not help but be shocked when he saw that Ji Yufei's clone actually wanted to enter the center of the array formation. In his opinion, only a formation master could enter the center of the array formation and control it, as well as all the formations in the entire Bailin city. Nephew Wang Zhon, the Black Tiger, also wanted to stop Ji Yufei's clone. "It's just a basic array formation," Ji Yufei's clone said indifferently. "Little guy, you're so young, yet you don't know your limits." The city-protecting formation of Bailin City was set up by a formation master. "If you want to die, go in," the middle-aged man mocked. "Is that so? Then why don't we make a bet?" Ji Yufei's doppelganger remained indifferent. "Ha ha ha, do you have a wager?" The middle-aged man became even more disdainful. "This guy is only a teenager, and he looks so unkempt. Even the beggars on the streets are cleaner than him." Ji Yufei's clone thought to himself, "This guy is looking down on me. I'll show you later. If I lose, this token will be yours." Ji Yufei's clone took out the token Dongyu Shuer gave him. The middle-aged man was startled. "You really want to use this token as a wager? Do I need to lie to you?" Ji Yufei's clone said indifferently. "Fine, I'll fight you." The middle-aged man knew the value of this token. If he could obtain this token, he might be able to leave Bailin City. He did not want to die together with the city. At this moment, the Heaven Tyrant army was slowly gaining the upper hand and was charging at the city gate. The situation was dire. "I've taken out my wager, what about yours?" Ji Yufei stared coldly at the middle-aged man. "Me." The middle-aged man sneered and flipped his right hand. A giant halberd immediately appeared in his hand. "This is an Earth-class low-grade Dao weapon. What do you think?" The middle-aged man said proudly. He had spent a lot of effort and paid a hefty price to obtain this halberd. He felt the pain of taking it out. Of course, he did not believe that this little guy could control the core of the formation laid out by a formation master. "Very well, hand over the halberd." Ji Yufei's clone reached out his right hand and was about to take the halberd from the middle-aged man's hand. "You think you've won?" The middle-aged man dodged and said coldly. "You're right about that. I've really won. Hand it over." "Are you joking?" The middle-aged man was a little angry. "Sigh, since that's the case, open your dog eyes wide." As Ji Yufei's clone spoke, he strode forward and walked into the void filled with runes. What? Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man's eyes widened and his face revealed an expression of disbelief. What made him most dumbfounded was that wherever Gu Fei's clone passed, the interweaving formation runes in the void would move aside. How was this possible? How did he do it? Who is he? How is this possible? The middle-aged man murmured. He had lost. Gu Fei's doppelganger strolled around the center of the formation before walking out again. He walked up to the middle-aged man step by step and looked at him coldly. You want to fight with me? Aren't you looking for trouble? Chapter 56-36. In an inconspicuous hut in the Black Chelin city's city lord residence, there was a completely different world inside. The huge space was filled with formation runes. Countless formation runes were constantly intertwining, forming various mysterious and unpredictable array diagrams. These array diagrams looked extremely complicated, but in the eyes of Gu Fei's avatar, it was nothing much. Because the great Tao was simple, the simpler the Tao pattern, the more powerful it was. If one could replace countless formation runes with a single formation rune and exert a stronger power, then would there be a need to make the array so complicated? This was the difference between an expert and a beginner. In the eyes of Gu Fei's avatar, the array of Black Chelin City was just a basic array. This was also the reason why there were countless formation runes in this huge space. At this time, Gu Fei's avatar walked around the space filled with countless formation runes, then stood in front of the middle-aged man and looked at him indifferently. The middle-aged man was not a weakling because he was the guardian of the Black Chelin City's array center. He was just a guard, and a guard with good combat power. He did not understand array formations. Still not going to hand it over? Gu Fei's avatar said indifferently. The middle-aged man's complexion became very ugly. He had actually underestimated this little guy. However, he was extremely curious. This little guy actually knew about arrays. How was this possible? How old was he? He was just a little guy who was still wet behind the ears. Could it be that he was more awesome than the array master of the mystical heaven sect who was breaking the array outside the city? When it came to array formations, the mystical heaven sect was really famous in the limitless realm. They were one of the rare array formations sects in the limitless realm. Could it be that this little guy had obtained an even more powerful array formation inheritance? If you bet, you must be willing to lose. What? Can't afford to lose. Just when the middle-aged man's mind was in a mess, the voice of Gu Fei's avatar suddenly came into his mind. This voice contained a force. Every sound was like a heavy hammer, fiercely pounding on the middle-aged man's soul. The middle-aged man was directly shaken awake by the sound wave technique of Gu Fei's avatar. Ah! The middle-aged man subconsciously tightened his grip on the halberd in his hand. This was a low-grade earth-ranked Tao artifact, and he had actually lost it. His heart was bleeding. One had to know that he had paid a considerable price to obtain this Tao artifact. Give it to me. Gu Fei's doppelganger reached out and grabbed the halberd in his opponent's hand. The middle-aged man was unwilling to give up. He grabbed onto the halberd and a murderous aura emanated from his body. He actually wanted to kill Gu Fei's clone. Gu Fei had experienced countless battles in his life, so he was especially sensitive to killing intent. As long as someone wanted to kill him, he would immediately sense it. This had already become an instinct of his. Although Wang Zhong was just a clone of Gu Fei in the unbounded realm, this clone possessed all of Gu Fei's combat experience. Gu Fei's doppelganger was not angry, but this guy actually wanted to kill him. The middle-aged man's heart trembled. He loosened his grip and the spear in his hand was taken away. Sigh. The middle-aged man sighed. In the end, he still did not dare to make a move, because he could not see through this little guy's strength. Moreover, this little guy had Dongyu Shue'er's token. Dongyu Shue'er's token was not so easily given to others. Only those whom Dongyu Shue'er valued and trusted the most would have the opportunity to obtain the token. Killing this little guy would have dire consequences. After all, Dongyu Shue'er was a heaven-ranked expert, and the Dongyu royal clan was so powerful that the middle-aged man would not dare to go against them. He could only reluctantly give up his treasure. Not bad. Jiu Fei's doppelganger said and kept the halberd in his hand. He originally wanted to give it to the black tiger, but on second thought, if the black tiger were to carry such a spear, it would directly bring disaster upon itself. It would not even know how it died. In the unbounded realm, killing and robbing was a common occurrence. Jiu Fei's doppelganger had no time to care about this young man. He directly strode into the center of the formation and sat on a stone seat. With a wave of his right hand, the entire central space of the formation changed directly. The middle-aged man and the black tiger could not see the figure of Jiu Fei's doppelganger in an instant. Then, in the dazzling divine light, the shadow of a city appeared. The entire city was covered by countless formation patterns, and the formation patterns on the surface had small holes from time to time. Naturally, they did not know what was happening. The small holes on the formation patterns were gradually being repaired. The center of the formation actually displayed the current situation of the entire Black Chilean city. The city shadow was naturally Black Chilean city. And the countless formation patterns covering Black Chilean city were the city guarding formation. The holes that appeared on the runes of the city protecting Great Array were the runes that were broken when the formation master of the mystical heaven sect outside the city attacked the city protecting Great Array. Although the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city was not controlled by anyone, it was still operating and could automatically repair the formation patterns broken by the formation breaking arrow. At this moment, in the sky above the east gate of Black Chilean city, a figure sitting cross-legged in the formation suddenly opened his eyes. 2 rays of cold light rushed out from his eyes. This man in black was the formation master of the mystical heaven sect invited by young Lord Batian, Master Lin. And Master Lin was very mysterious. He wore a bamboo hat and covered his face. No one knew whether this Master Lin was a man or a woman because it was impossible to tell at all. This mysterious Master Lin sensed that the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city had changed. What's going on? Master Lin was shocked. Didn't they say that the formation master of Black Chilean city had been assassinated by Batian? Who else in Black Chilean city could control the city guarding formation? In order to break into Black Chilean city, young Lord Batian could be said to be unscrupulous. He wanted to destroy the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city at all costs. Without anyone controlling the city guarding formation, the power of the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city was greatly reduced. This gave Master Lin of the mystical heaven sect an opportunity. But at this moment, the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city changed. It was the most crucial moment. As long as 1 or 2 formation eyes were destroyed, the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city could be completely broken. But now, there was an accident. Master Lin was shocked to find that the restoration speed of the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city had become faster. The surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth began to gather towards Black Chilean city. The city guarding formation of Black Chilean city was actively gathering the power of heaven and earth. Compared to the passive gathering speed of the power of heaven and earth, the speed of the city guarding formation of Black Chilean city actively gathering the power of heaven and earth was 10 times faster. Soon, a huge whirlpool appeared in the sky above Black Chilean city. Countless people who were fighting outside the city looked up to the sky in horror. Chapter 56:37. After Jiu Fei's doppelganger took control of the Black Chilean city's formation center, the entire Black Chilean city's defensive formation was like a terrifying heavenly beast that had suddenly awakened from its slumber. The sky above Black Chilean city suddenly changed color, the sun and the moon lost their light, and the aura from all directions crazily gathered towards Black Chilean city. The whole Black Chilean city's great city defense formation came alive. On the city protecting Great Array, the runes on the areas that had been damaged by the formation breaking arrows were rapidly repairing themselves. The power of the array was constantly increasing. How is this possible? Master Lin of the mystical heaven sect was inexplicably shocked. Did an array master take over the array center of the Black Chilean city? Black Chilean city's city defense formation was the key to the survival of Black Chilean city. Once the city defense formation was broken, Black Chilean city would be finished. However, as long as the city barrier formation was still in place, the people in the city would still be able to fight against the Sky Tyrant army. What happened? At this moment, everyone looked up at the huge spiritual vortex that appeared in the sky above Black Chilean City. A visible pillar of spiritual energy fell from the sky and was absorbed by the city defense formation. Wu Liang, who was in the air, was also shocked. Behind Wu Liang were more than 10 warriors. These warriors were all very strong, and even the weakest among them was an Earth-rank warrior. These were the subordinates of Wu Liang, the commander-in-chief of the Tyrant army. His subordinates had followed Wu Liang for at least 10 years. Wu Liang didn't take young Lord Batian seriously because he had a group of trusted subordinates. All of them held military power. Military power was a good thing. The young lord of the Sky Tyrant Empire refused to leave because he had taken a fancy to Wu Liang and the military power in his hands. In the entire Sky Tyrant Empire, the Sky Tyrant Empire's army of hundreds of thousands could be considered a force that could be independent from the rest of the empire. Of course, the territory of the tyrannical Sky Empire was vast. Compared to all the armies of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Wu Liang's army was nothing. However, the other armies of the tyrannical Heaven dynasty were stationed in various places and could not be mobilized at will. After all, the East Moon Empire was not the only enemy of the tyrannical Heaven Empire. The tyrannical Sky Empire had to guard against many opponents. The East Moon Empire also had many enemies, and there were also many forces eyeing the East Moon Empire. This was the same in the Limitless Realm, or even in other worlds. The big fish ate the small fish, and the small forces attached themselves to the big forces. Those who refused to submit would be beaten until they did. Although the tyrannical Sky Empire was stronger than the East Moon Empire, they were not much stronger. It would not be easy to destroy the East Moon Empire. The sky above the Black Chilean City changed color. Wu Liang and the others all felt something was wrong. At this time, in the sky a dozen miles away from Black Chilean City, a heavenly army was rushing toward Black Chilean City at top speed. The powerful murderous aura was earth-shattering. A female general stood on the back of a golden eagle, charging at the very front. Behind her was a dense mass of black-feathered war eagles, and on each of the war eagles stood an Eastern Moon heavenly soldier clad in battle armor. A distance of several dozen kilometers could be covered in the blink of an eye by the Eastern Moon heavenly army. However, Wu Liang was not to be trifled with. He directly ordered the heavenly army to attack. A tall general wielded a halberd and directly charged into the sky from the tyrant army's battle formation. Countless heavenly soldiers on heavenly winged beasts also charged into the sky. The heavenly soldiers that attacked Black Chilean City earlier were actually only the vanguard of the tyrant army. The real heavenly army of the tyrant army was mobilized now. The heavenly army of the tyrant army directly met the Eastern Moon Empire's heavenly army. Very soon, in the sky 7 or 8 kilometers away from Black Chilean City, the two armies instantly clashed. Countless soldiers fell from the sky, and battle cries shook the heavens and earth. The heavenly army of the tyrannical Sky Empire successfully intercepted the Eastern Moon Empire's reinforcements. The Eastern Moon Empire's heavenly army had already arrived, so the reinforcements were not far from Black Chilean City. The situation was extremely disadvantageous for the tyrant army. "Attack with everything you've got," Wu Liang exhaled. His voice spread throughout the sky and earth. If they still hesitated at this time, they would die a terrible death. Kill. Kill. After hearing Wu Liang's voice, the countless soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire all became bloodshot. They attacked Black Chilean City like madmen. None of them were afraid of death, and all of them fought with their lives on the line. Boom. With a heavy crash, the heavenly army of the tyrant army successfully reached the eastern city gate. Dozens of soldiers carried huge logs and slammed the eastern city gate fiercely. On top of the city gate, the Eastern Moon Empire's guards desperately shot arrows at the heavenly army below. The heavenly army below the city gate fell one after another after being hit by the arrows. However, the city gate of Black Chilean City was not so easily breached. At this moment, the ground in front of the city gate suddenly shook. Countless grains of sand gathered on the ground in front of the city gate. Earth chi was condensing. The countless grains of sand and gravel actually condensed into an earth giant. The earth giant stood up from the ground. Its head was even taller than the city gate. The countless Eastern Moon Empire's guards on top of the city gate were stunned by this scene. The earth giant charged towards the city gate. The heavenly army that was attacking the city immediately scattered in fright. Roar! The earth giant roared furiously at the sky and directly threw a punch at the city gate that was tightly shut. Release the arrows. The guards on top of the city gate all fired arrows at the earth giant. However, when the arrows hit the earth giant's body, they directly pierced into the earth giant's body. These arrows could not harm the earth giant at all. Boom! The earth giant's fist smashed onto the city gate fiercely. The ferocious fist force exploded, and countless cracks appeared on the thick and heavy city gate. Oh no! One of the generals on top of the city gate could not help but be shocked when he saw this. At the same time, the earth giant's second punch was already flying towards the city gate. Boom! With a loud bang, the tightly shut city gate was directly smashed into pieces. Countless fragments shot into the city gate, and screams immediately rang out from within the city gate. Behind the city gate were all the soldiers of the Eastern Moon Empire. When the earth giant broke through the city gate, the soldiers behind the city gate immediately suffered, and a large number of them collapsed. The Eastern City Gate has been breached. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone, who had just taken control of the formation center of Black Chilean City, could not help but frown as he stared at the virtual image of the city above. The virtual image of the formation center displayed the real-time status of various parts of Black Chilean City. On the virtual image of Black Chilean City, the Eastern City Gate had been breached. How troublesome. Ji Yufei's clone shook his head. Then let's start with this big guy first. As Ji Yufei's clone spoke, he stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers. At the same time, dazzling bolts of lightning descended from the sky, directly blasting the earth giant that was charging towards the Eastern City Gate into the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. It's just a small test. The power seems to be not bad.